All right, and welcome everyone to our premiere of Windriders of Aria, a Halfling Wizard, Vibe Tribe, and Surge joint production. You guys can, all my cast, y'all can unmute yourselves at this point if you'd like. What we're going to do, I just wanted to welcome everybody in our chat. For coming and hanging out with us. What we're going to do is we're going to basically teach you all Surge, which is a new TTRPG platform created by our wonderful creator that we have with us, Greg, up here. He's up in the top, I think, in the top middle there. And I'm going to let him talk about it here in just a couple of minutes, just sort of break it down and just, maybe a little bit about the history of it and, just sell your product, my man, sell your product, which we are very, very happy to and honored to be able to do that live streamed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let Greg talk, and then if you have any questions throughout this whole stream about the new platform, please drop it in the chat, and Greg will probably answer it for you. So I'm going to hand this over to Greg and let him tell you guys a little bit.
Well, thank you for that great introduction. My name is Greg. I am the co-founder of the Surge TTRPG system, the overall entity that develops Surge is called Warped Tree. You can find all of our products that we're going to be putting out in the future at warpedtree.com. And then if you're looking for the specific free PDF for the core rulebook, it's about 140 pages. And it's available for PDF right now for free at warpedtree.com/game/Surge. So feel free to check it out, follow along. We made this game. The reason we made this system was to remove a lot of the confines that we were experiencing a lot of the other TTRPGs that our friends and ourselves were playing. We wanted to create something different, and so that's what we felt like we've done. And I think that time will speak for itself as you guys are following along with the campaign and the great storyline that I know that Will's got planned for you all. And then ask questions, and I will do whatever I can to answer them. I think it's a good start. Back to you, Will.
All right. So again, you can get the core rulebook in a PDF format. I have the old version of it here. This is I think this was first edition or beta edition. This is actually the beta edition that I have, which has been updated quite a bit, and I'm very excited about getting the new one. But we've been working with Greg and his other partners, and to bring this new platform to the world, I guess, and the streaming, and at least in my little corner of it. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and let my cast introduce themselves. If you guys could just tell us, who you are. And you don't necessarily need to tell me character names yet, because we're going to get more into that later. But at least tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what projects you have coming up. So we'll just start with Crazy Gamer Lady.
Nick, you're muted.
Yep. Hey guys, I'm the Crazy Gamer Lady. You can find me on TikTok under Crazy Gamer Lady. You can also find me with Will, our lovely halfling wizard, on ADH Adventures. I play every other Saturday as Akasi, the lizard folk druid, in Unlicensed Magic War Crimes.
Indeed.
And hopefully, even next week, we will not be dealing with nearly as much trauma, even though I know we will.
Perhaps. All right, let's go. Kel, let's go with you next.
Yeah. Remember, I will say, you're playing a campaign that involves war crimes. There's going to be trauma. But again, I am Kel, also known as the Celtic Wyvern King. You can find me on Twitch and TikTok under the same. When it comes to projects, you can find me running a Stargate 5e game on my channel every other Friday. We actually have our game this Friday. And then obviously you can find me here on Mondays for Windriders of Aria, as well as on opposite Mondays for Will's other campaign, Origins and Orlea's Story. Where in that one I get to play a bard for the first time, which I've already gotten up to some bard stuff by drinking dragon's milk, which for those who have watched Orlea games in the past, you know exactly what that stuff does. Especially when you roll really, 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 really low. Let's say I already did a Daredevil Walk of Shame from She-Hulk. Just
and we know there was,
close.
And I was having Kel dice.
we know there was a goat involved too, but we're not sure how it was.
Yeah.
And
we'll
jam.
leave that alone.
And jam. That's right. Jam
Yep.
and a goat.
But also on the opposite Fridays for my campaign,
The goat's name is Jam.
Oh God. Ugh. Anyway, on the opposite Fridays for my campaign, so next Friday, well, hopefully next Friday for me based on scheduling, but over on Dinner and the Game Show, I'll be part of a Walking Dead campaign using the system from Gehenna Games. Or not Gehenna Games, from Free League Publishing. Sorry, wrong, but yeah, Free League Publishing.
Okay. Cool. All right, Lisa.
Hello, I'm Lisa, D&D Winterwolf on TikTok and Discord. Very happy to be here. A little intimidated by the new system, but it looks so fun. I can find me here Mondays on opposite Mondays. I'm also in the Origins, the Orlea game, and also in Kellen's Stargate game on alternating Fridays coming up this Friday. And I'm ready to do this.
Okay. And Old Wormslayer. Who we lost.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay, he'll be back. And when he comes back, we'll let him introduce himself. And of course, I am Will, or Halfling Wizard, the maestro of chaos for this awesome group of folks who I've had the pleasure of working with in various iterations of TTRPGs here and there. You can find me here, obviously, on Mondays, either with these lovely folks in Windriders of Aria, or on the opposite Mondays in Orlea Origins, where you'll find Callum and Lisa also in that one. You can also find me over at ADH Adventures, where I play Mim, the Mimic Broke Druid in Turning Point on Tuesdays, and I play a Karin, our emo warlock cleric in Unlicensed Magic War Crimes on every other Saturday. So yeah, come check us out. If you're new to here at the Halfling Wizard, we'd appreciate a follow just to get us there. I think we're at 30 right now, so we're super excited about that. We are fairly new, but we would appreciate follows and shares and all sorts of manner of things. So please do. All right, so we're going to get into characters. I'm going to have you guys sort of introduce your characters. Now, since this is a new platform, what I would like you guys to do, just tell us your characters' names, and tell us a little bit about your process to build the character that you have so far. Now, I'm not talking character sheet wise. I'm talking like a little bit of background. What species are they? And give us a little bit, just a nugget. I'm not, you don't have to give us the full backstory or anything like that. Just enough to sort of say, this is my character, and this is kind of how this character came to be. If you don't mind, and I am going to roll a die and see who's going to go first. Ha ha ha! First roll of the night, and it has really nothing to do with the game itself.
Or does it?
Well, it does now. That will be Kel. You're first, my man.
My character is, and let me double check the nation of this, because with me going on an Irish binge on names, I want to make sure I don't butcher this, because I wasn't expecting to go first. Yeah, we call it eating. Like, that always seems to be lucky.
Do what? Oh, are you pulling up your stuff? Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, for instance, my character is, or at least I'll get the exact. My computer's being a little stupid with everything that's running in the background. But I chose to play a Jin because I just like how adaptable they are. Because Jin, for those who haven't looked through it, if you've downloaded before, and hopefully you guys get, because there's a lot of stuff in here that's really cool. But Jin, once a day, gets a mutation that they get changed to, whether it be your wings, which gives them a fly speed. They can change their ears to increase survival skill, gills in the water, and get an increase in leather crafting, or get red iris, or dark vision for those who play D&D. Which I thought was just really cool, and especially with some stuff you were talking about, Will, when it came to my backstory, how it's going to be interesting to see what pops up. Yeah, I'm just kind of went there. I thought Jim would be really interesting there.
Okay. Anything else you want to share with us, like backstory wise, or?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's going to come from a country we'll see called Stormhawk, which I believe we said I think we agreed on 50 years ago, had a bit of an incident that kind of reshaped the maps. And
a little incident.
Hey, I'm just trying to be nice here, okay? My character wasn't even born yet.
Just saying.
My character wasn't even born yet.
Incident. Only
it only changed the face of an island and climate for the rest of the world anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say altered climate and everything.
But yeah, so that created a bit, which although what led up to that incident had no malice behind it, most of the world is paranoid and they're a little skeptical of the Jin.
A little bit. Just a little bit, not a whole lot.
Yep. And let's just say my character's done some stuff that definitely got him in trouble. Not related to the incident, though. Like I said, he ain't that old.
That's fair. All right. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let me roll this dice again. And Nicole. Or Crazy Gamer Lady.
Whichever one works.
Sorry.
So I'm going to be playing Alana Verdant. She is a Wodel, or Wodel. And think if the Ents from Lord of the Rings were smaller and looked more humanoid. They are still tree-like people, but they look more like people than trees. And she's from a place called Hempstead that is very much all natural. Think if Puritans met hippies, and that is how natural they are.
I still love that description. I still love that.
And they are huge into textiles. That's kind of their primary export, and that is how Alana is going to be. She is very excited about textiles. It's her thing. So if she comes up to a person with a silk skirt, and she will be excited, and she will know the fabric and the weave, and she will be very disappointed if they use something like taffeta, where charmeuse would have been lovely.
I love that. I absolutely love that. For those of you who don't know Crazy Gamer Lady, I'm gonna brag on her for a minute. I'm in Unlicensed Magic War Crimes with her, and we were in the original one as well. She is brilliant at characterizations. She comes up with some of the coolest stuff, and I won't lie to you. And I've never said this out loud to people, but I'm a little jealous of it sometimes, because literally she comes up with some of the coolest things. If you don't watch Unlicensed Magic, you should. For if you watch it for nothing else, watch it for Akase. It's so great. It's so great. The character is so fun. So fun.
I know. I haven't had a chance to get to that, but I remember when this is actually where I met Nicole in person was Gen Con. We had some magic in person there. Just a little bit of Akasi I got to see during that. I was, oh my god.
She's, I'm telling you, she's super fun.
Yeah, and I mean, oh my god, in a good way, by the way. Just for those watching, Kate.
Right.
Y'all making me blush, damn it.
I know. Didn't mean to, sorry. Let's see, Lisa. Let's go Lisa now.
Do I have to follow that?
Hey, your characters are super cool too, so I might brag on you also.
All right, my character's name is Katerina Zephyrian. She is a Peri, which is a new being in Surge. And from the book, it says Peri could be mistaken for normal humans if not for one noticeable mutation, often called sky people by other species due to their large feathered wings. So this is going to be fun. She is from a country called East Haven, which is a country on the brink of civil war. And she is a member of the elite King's Guard. Ta-da!
Okay. Was that all you wanted to share? That's fine, which is fine. Totally fine. Okay. So then we have Old Wormslayer. You're next. If you want to just tell us a little about your character. Also introduce yourself, because I think you dropped out before we got a chance to. So if you can introduce yourself, tell us where who you are, where they can find you, and then just give us like your character's name and a little bit of. You can give us a little bit of backstory if you'd like, but a little bit of sort of your process in coming up with the character.
And I'll do the best I can. My browser is being a pain in my butt. All right.
No problem.
Hi, everybody. I'm Old Wormslayer. And yes, my browser literally stopped responding, which disconnected me from our stream. You can find me here every other Monday in my first ever long-running campaign with Will and others in Windriders of the area. You can also find me on TikTok as Tiny Nunya. Other than that, I'm mostly here. Now, for my character, I am playing if I can remember the name correctly, because it is how to pronounce. And if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. The name is character is Goth Alfredi.
Yep.
Which translates to manta ray. And he comes from a family who runs a business involving various trade goods that are used for pretty much building ships and whatnot, and other needs. His family has a say when it comes to trading the world's best. And when it comes to I mostly just wing it. I go with, hey, this looks cool. Let's see how I can have some fun with this. Is it ADHD? Sometimes you can't always figure out where you're going until you get going.
Very cool. All right, cool. All right, so
My story, and
go ahead.
I'm sticking to it.
Cool. So I'll tell you a little bit about my introduction. When I first learned about it, I was super excited. As I've been sort of chit-chatting with Greg, and we've been sort of talking and building.
Hopefully you were able to hear all of that.
Yeah, we heard you. Yeah. As we've been building everything, it's been a really cool journey. What a great platform. And it's super, and I'll tell you guys, it's hard for me to learn new things because I'm old, and at least I feel old. But this one's pretty good. This one's easy to learn. I mean, I still need some of the technical help because as the DM aspect of it, I think as a player, it's a lot easier because when we were playing in the one shot, as a player, I felt, oh, this is super simple. As a DM, you have so much pressure on you because it's like this new system has all these neat little things and you don't want to mess any of them up. And so that's sort of been where I've been for a while. And then we got Foundry set up and I was like, oh, this is cool. I went in and I was playing with it and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, it's super crazy, but I'm super excited about it. I've been so excited about it for months now. And so what I would like to do is, again, I'm going to turn this back over to Greg. Put you on the spot again. And we're going to do some of our players are still building their characters in Foundry, and we're going to kind of talk through that a little bit, just so we can and not necessarily the mechanics of Foundry, but like the idea of when you go into the book and you're looking for your particular race, you find these things, sort of that sort of thing. Like, how would you, in the Surge system, how would you create a character? And then once we get our characters created officially, then we're going to jump right into some gameplay and get this platform rolling. But we're gonna pull. I'm gonna turn this over to Greg, and we're gonna just talk a little bit. I'm gonna let him talk a little bit about character and the players. If you guys should be able to get into the Foundry, and you can pull up your character sheets and kind of follow along. If you have questions, please ask. Don't not ask. Raise your hand or whatever you need to do. And
if you don't ask, you don't learn nothing.
Correct. Also, if you may have noticed on the Twitch chat, if you type in the command !Surge in capital letters, you will find the link to the Surge website. For anybody out there who wants to find it, that's how you can do that. And I'll pop it up every so often. You'll see it pop up. So. All right, Greg, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to let you kind of go for about 20 minutes or so.
Oh boy.
Give or take. I mean, you might finish sooner. If you run a little over, that's okay too.
Okay.
Just filibuster, you'll be fine.
You've been unleashed. Enjoy
right.
it.
So there are two ways to create characters in Surge. The first is manual choice. This is where you're getting to select your, everything just by choice, and then you're given a set list of things that you can add to your equipment. And then there's also something called Born Again. For anyone who's looking to jump into the game and they don't really have any precognition to what you're in store for, and you just want to start trying the system, I really do recommend Born Again. Basically, it takes all of your decisions and puts it straight into a die roll. And so if you're looking at the book, this would be on page 13. It kind of walks you through that. You're going to roll a 1d8, and 1 through 7 is going to select a specific playable species. Again, all these playable species are unique to our system. We're not pulling from anywhere else, or either original creations, or they are basically pulled from lore from anything that's non-Norse, non-Greek mythology. We were just looking all around the world, Polynesian, et cetera, et cetera. And so anyway, you can go through that whole process. And I'm going through the board again first and coming back to manual choice here in a moment. But after you've rolled your species, there will be another roll that you have to do so that you get a special attribute that has to do with that playable species. And then as you go through and you're looking at the book and looking at all the things that you get with that, it'll explain, what you rolled and what that means for you. And also at the top right of each one of those species pages is your born again items. These are things that you would just automatically put into a character sheet and be like, okay, let's play. And so that's really the difference. Manual choice is exactly as it sounds. You're going through and you're picking things off of the equipment list and throwing them in your inventory. You'll get usually 100 gold. Of course, this is all world specific, GM specific, but just recommendations are things that we provide. And so for our players here today, the first thing that I think that everyone has already done is picking your species. So just a quick round. Has anyone not done that? Okay, silence is compliance. Great. Moving on to the next piece. Has anyone not chosen a trait for that specific species? You'll see on each one of the species pages at the bottom, you'll see character creation, origin story, and you're going to see that you get one species specific trait that is just standard. So I'm going to use Kel as an example, playing a Jin. You're going to automatically get an extra level in luck. All attributes and skills at level 1 start at 1 with the exception of these specialties. So a Jin will have, instead of a level 1 score for luck, they'll have level 2. And then you'll get to choose between 4 additional bonuses. So using Jin again as an example, you can either have wings, which allow you the ability to fly in any direction as your movement speed. You also have the ability to add a +1 to your survival skill. You can add gills, the ability for breathing on both land and in water, plus a leathercraft point. And then you also have red iris, which is basically, if you're looking for an equivalent to something like D&D, would be the only version of dark vision we have in the whole game. Makes you extremely valuable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so where do you see that on the character sheet? Like species I typed in Jin, is it supposed to automatically update, or I need to go in and do that?
Let's see. Look at your character sheet real quick. Have you pulled it in yet?
I thought I did, but then it's on different one. So
Let's see.
because I am still very new to that.
No problem. So I'm gonna switch gears for a minute and help Kel out. If you go to the fourth menu on the right, I think it's the fourth menu on the right-hand side, items. It looks like a briefcase in Foundry.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look, there's a blue folder called Species Traits.
Okay.
This is how easy it is to select your species in the Foundry VTT. Point and click and hold on Jin and drag it to any open space in your character sheet.
Okay, so I gotta have my sheet open and do that. Okay.
You do, yeah.
All right.
Yep. Oh, it looks like you did it twice. You can just delete one of those. Doesn't matter which one.
Oh, it didn't look like. Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Yep. So it showed up in traits.
Okay.
And so now it's important to note that in the VTT, that anything you pull from that menu list, items, species traits, weapons, spells, whatever, that becomes instanced specifically. It's a carbon copy to your character sheet. So on the left-hand side where you see Jin there, if you click on that, that's going to open a new window, and that is going to be virtually a carbon copy of what would have happened if you had double-clicked it in the menu there. But now any changes you make do not affect the item on the right-hand side because that's a global list. This is now yours. Yep. So I can see that you've made that selection, and then you need to roll your starting HP, which is going to be, you have a level 1 in strength. And so that's what that right drop down is between 1 and 20. So you'll have level 1, roll starting HP. It's that red text button.
think you said.
in that little box that you opened for Jen.
Oh, when I hit here. Okay. Well, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. 11.
That's a great one. So you can close that box. You've done everything you need to do there now. And back in your character sheet, you typed in 11. Perfect. Now you'll notice that your max HP, because that's not an open text field, automatically has 11 in it. And so now you can take your, where this just says HP, it's your current HP, you can make that 11.
Okay. On my computer. There we go.
So now that you've done that, and I'll loop back around to everyone just since we're short on the flow, you also need to take a look at your recovery points value. This is very important. Recovery points, there's two ways that you can naturally heal. One of them is by resting per hour. The other one is whenever in combat you take damage on during a round, the beginning of your next turn, you get that value back to your current HP. So it's important that you know what that is. That can be modified by equipment, by pots, by certain conditions. If Will comes up with something, even magical items, if Will has something in mind. But your base species for Jin is a 1. Okay, so the other thing is, oh no, that's right. You chose Red Iris, which does not give you a skills bonus, but it does give you something that is specifically unique to your character and to your playable species. No one else has that, which is great. I think that's a fantastic choice. And then at this point, you're pretty much good to go. The only other thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to your sequence counter, which is next to your recovery point, just keep an eye on that number. Every time that Will says, hey, add a point to your sequence counter, that's going to raise your max HP by 1.
Okay.
That's how we level our HP, and those are usually after combat sequences or something like that. But Will's got all that in his head, and he's going to help you. He's going to give you those milestones. Whenever you do increase your max HP, you can increase your current HP by that same amount. And I will get to chat and answering your questions. There's a couple there. And we'll come loop back around to that. Okay. So that walked you through everything there. I think you're good. Do you have any questions? All right. Sounds good. Okay. So I kind of talked through it within Foundry, but I'll come back and just do a generalization of how you build a character. You build a character by choosing your species, making adjustments to your attributes based on the default bonuses that species gives you, choosing a secondary that's provided from a list, and then you make those adjustments again to your attributes or skills as necessary. If it's not something that gives you a statistic bonus, like Kel chose Red Iris, it's just something to be mindful of. But think of it, again, I make the equivalent to D&D because that's what most people can recognize and reconcile with. Think of it as a special feat that only that species can possibly have. So it's something that you'd be able to do. After that, in this instance, we're not doing equipment, but if you were doing equipment, we do have a guide on what you would do. So we have, I think, about 160 items on our items list. And so you would want to choose 3 general gear items. The items section is split into different categories, and there is a general gear section. So you'd want 3 general gear items. You would want to choose 1 weapon of 500 gold or less value, and then you would also add 100 gold coins to your inventory. We only use gold in this system just to remove the convolution of all the different categorizations. Your GM who has built your world might have specific currencies built into their system. We wanted to give 1 foundation and then let the GMs kind of pull in everything else that they want to. That was the whole point of the system. It is as open as it can possibly be while giving some level of expectation between GM and players. Aside from that, the GM has full control of all the rules, and everything is basically a recommendation. I don't think that was 20 minutes, but I might be close.
Actually, I just had another question pop up.
Yeah.
Where would you put your movement speed in here?
So there isn't one, and the reason for that is because that is a species-specific thing. It's just something to be mindful of, and that might be an oversight on the Foundry itself. But so for Jen, on page 16 of the book, your movement speed is 10.
Yeah.
Something that just to re-engage about is that every species has a standard movement speed, and you use actions for movement.
All right.
And I know that some people are going to say, oh no, why would you do that? There is a whole general purpose for this. How many times have you been in another system where you haven't moved, and yet you can't do more being stationary than if you were also moving? So the reason that we integrated movement into our actions options is so that you can choose to move, or maybe you want to stay still and you want to get that extra attack in and use your action that way.
All right. Cool.
Hey, not a question, but I know that because we don't have any equipment, weapons, armor at this point, but you were talking about the menace thing, which I thought was really interesting and might come up down the road.
Yes, so that is something brand new. And so what Menace does is the more weapons and the heavier the armor, the more durable stuff that you carry with you will have a Menace rating. And so when things are added to your inventory, that Menace will automatically increase. Menace is something that can be a buff or debuff depending on the circumstance. Here's something else that's probably going to baffle a few people until I explain it. So stealth related activities are based on your charisma attribute, not dexterity like most people would predict. The reason for this is because we believe that charisma not only encompasses how you interact with others, but also how you can manipulate others' perception of their environment and yourself. And so that's the reason that we had added stealth activities under charisma, because if you're wandering around trying to be stealthy, I mean, you can be carrying all the clank that you want, but if you can roll really well on changing the perception of what's going around others and being really quiet, then that would make sense in that situation. So tying this back to Menace, so Menace, if you're trying to do something stealthy, will probably detract from your roll. If you're trying to be intimidating, the heavier the armor, the more weapons you're carrying, that's going to actually help you. That would potentially be a bonus to your charisma roll for some sort of intimidation tactic. If you have a lot of these same items and you're trying to negotiate with someone, well, if you're really imposing looking, that might be a detraction from that interaction. So it's entirely contingent on the scenario and how Will deems it. It's sort of open to their GM's interpretation, but that is how we meant for it to be used. Did that answer the question? Okay.
Very well. Very well.
Great question. And thank you for the reminder. Any other questions from you guys?
Any more character creation questions?
I reserve the right to ask more questions later.
I'll say, so I brought up movement earlier, just to clarify. So that 10, is that 10 feet or?
Say that again.
So the 10, is that 10 feet or?
10 feet, yes.
Okay. That's what I assumed. I just figured I'd double check. You never know, because I know, like, with the system I use for my Friday games, they do theirs instead of meters, which obviously 10 meters would be a lot of movement. But I just want to double check.
Yep.
So is a parry's movement the same walking and flying?
Correct.
Okay.
So a Jinn would have had the ability to also have wings. Which the other cool thing about Jinn is that daily you can change the second attributes. A Jinn is the only one that has this capability. Every 24 hours, a Jinn can change their mutation.
Yeah, and
Which is
actually,
really neat.
this on that part would that actually now that I think about it, just in case it pops up later, would that be like literally like once per day, or could it be like after like will be the equivalent of a long rest as well, or would it have to literally be just once per day?
So two key things to note on that. So we don't have a long rest.
You know,
We have per hour of rest you gain so much HP back. That's really the only benefit there, right? We don't have spell slots or anything like that. It's spells there's a dedicated amount of turn actions it takes to cast a spell, and once you've met that requirement, as long as it wasn't interrupted, you can cast it. So there's no long rest, and really and truthfully, that's something you'll work out with Will. You'll probably just be like, "Hey, Will, has it been 24 hours yet?" And he'll say, "No," or "Yep, you're good," and then you can be like, "Okay, changing my stuff."
Yeah, because I knew there wasn't long rest from what I read. I was saying like just for equivalency's sake. Because I still remember what me and Will were talking about with my Jinn in particular, with being able to change the trait. That's going to be so much fun.
Oh yeah.
and Will, I think on some of those moments, I'll just let you roll randomly on what happens for that part.
Okay.
Make it even more interesting.
For sure. For sure.
Did anyone else have any questions? And Will, tell me if my time is done.
No, you're good. If anybody else has any questions, now's the time to ask.
I also reserve the right to ask later because my brain does not work that far in the future.
Fair enough.
A question was asked.
Hey, you know what? We're learning as we go, and I love that.
Okay.
And I appreciate Greg being so available to us to answer any and all questions.
Well, also, Pet the Goose, my counterpart, is actually in the chat as well, answering questions. So he's
awesome.
So did they get the question answered in the chat?
And there's one that was not, which was oh no, it kind of was. Never mind.
No, but the one that Tony asked about health, Goose mentioned.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll go on mute and let you guys carry on.
Thank you, Greg.
All right then. So cool. So let's dive into story. One of the good things that you guys will, for the most part, we won't be needing a lot of your character sheet for the prologue, at least for this first session, because this first session is just more sort of an introduction. So all right. So let's get into the world itself. So the world that we are in is Aria. Aria is for those of you, any of you who have ever watched or followed the Orlea sagas, Aria is a moon of Orlea. It is one of two moons, Aria and Baladine. Baladine is its twin sister, which is the funny thing about it is it's on the complete opposite side of the planet. So actually, the people of Aria have no idea that it exists. They only see Orlea, which is known as the mother planet on Aria. And when we talk about timelines, Aria, the events of Aria happen. This is happening thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years in Orlea's past. So the Aria developed much sooner than Orlea did. So at the events of the Windriders, there is primitive life on Orlea. It actually precedes Origins.
I was just about to ask that.
Yes, it actually precedes Origins. So that's sort of where we fall in that. If you don't know Orlea, that's cool. You actually don't have to know it for this campaign, because this campaign literally is its own entity. All right. So let's talk about Aria. Real quick, I'm going to introduce Aria to everyone. Aria is a standard size moon that orbits Orlea, the mother planet. It is fairly well populated. It's got multiple nations. In this world, science is sort of king. They follow sort of the idea of technology is good, and they sort of advance to a rate to where at the current time in Aria, we are in what would basically be like a steampunk world. It's very that sort of like Victorian steampunk funness because everybody loves a steampunk world. The campaign starts out in the Kingdom of Fossa, which is an island nation, and it's the most technologically advanced country on the planet. And it sort of maintains control over technology advancement on the planet only because of an incident that occurred about 50 years ago where the Kingdom of Fossa shared technology with another nation and they basically blew themselves up. And so Fossa, the Kingdom of Fossa, decided that at that point on, they would not share technologies with anybody. However, they would use their technologies to help the world. Meaning, if you had a nation who was, they're in a drought, they would use their technologies to go and help them raise crops, find a way to water their fields. They would come in with it, do the thing, and then they would take it with them back. So no, it's not, they don't leave it with anybody. The Kingdom of Fossa is very much a peaceful nation. They are one of sort of a grouping of nations that sort of have come together and they sort of help out, basically. They're all wanting the sort of same thing. They're wanting to advance the world in a good way, through the use of sort of technology. Yes, for those of you who are Stargate fans, a lot of this is going to sound very familiar to you. And then there are sort of nations that are completely against it. Like absolutely zealots do not want any technology to happen. They want to stay primitive. They want to stay with the way they are. And then they're called outlier nations. And then you have the neutral nations that are just sort of there. They're sort of like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're neither one or the other. If it helps us, yay. If we don't need it, then we won't need it. So that's sort of the way the world is broken up. But you do have the nation of Fossa, who it's sort of and I'll describe it a little bit. It's based in sort of an Eastern architecture. So you're going to see a lot of those sort of pagoda-style roofs, a lot of that sort of architecture from like Japan and China, Vietnam, that sort of the Asian world over there. It's just an architecture. They do have a ruler. They do have a Mikado, like an emperor or a king. But this is Mikado Catherine Zenova the 61st, the House of Regina Deu. And she is a very benevolent queen. She's loved by her people. She's very much about the people and getting them to live good lives and make sure that they're all healthy, that sort of thing. She's very, very good. Now, when we get into Fossa, we have to, we talk about technology not being shared. there are laws in FASA to keep these sort of things in mind. I'm going to go through the laws sort of for our players and for our audience, so you kind of understand the law. Because there are some lesser laws, and then there's like the cardinal law. So lesser laws are anyone caught with unregistered technology will be arrested, questioned with the possibility of trial and sentencing, because this is how serious they take it. Anyone caught trying to undermine the authority of the Mikado or their advisor will be arrested, questioned with the possibility of trial and sentencing. And now when I'm talking about that, I mean not you speak against them, but you literally like dethrone them to bring bodily harm. And then technology cannot be taken out of the Kingdom of Fasa for the sole purpose of sharing it with neighboring nations. Now they do have a supreme Yukis, which is their solid law, which is the Kingdom of Fasa will not share technology with any nation beyond its borders for any reason, positive or negative. As in the distant past, the kingdom shared its technology with a neighboring nation who then immediately created weapons to destroy their enemies and ultimately themselves. Therefore, anyone trying to smuggle, sell, or give technology from the Kingdom of Fasa to any person, group, or nation outside of the kingdom's borders shall be immediately, without trial or appeal, be put to death. Because that's how they feel. That's how strongly they feel about it. Because they do not want to be the cause of anyone else's demise. They do have several. They have several foundations. They have the 7 foundations, which are morality, fidelity, honor, reverence, honesty, valor, and consistency. And they follow these laws to the letter. The lesser laws, you might find someone that's kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll look the other way if you're doing whatever. But when it comes to the supreme Yukis, yeah, you don't want to mess with that. Just don't want to do it. It's not worth it. All right. And so if you see, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of the characters' first time to the city. You will all arrive to the city at different times. You won't come together, obviously, because none of you are from the same nations. And I'm just going to start in the top corner, my top corner, which is with Crazy Gamer Lady. Elena, is it Alana? Is that what it is, Alana?
Yep, it is Alana Verdant.
Okay, so Alana. Okay, so what happened is each nation on the planet got an invitation from Fasa, from the Mikado. She sent out an invitation asking the rulers of each nation to handpick people they feel would be the right choice to come to Fasa and learn to basically become special agents, so to speak, without it actually being special agents. So each nation had to select however many they chose. Some nations will have selected a large amount. Some may have only selected a handful, that sort of thing. But they had to select some, and then they had to send them to Fasa. Now, when I say send them, Fasa will send transports to pick them up and bring them back. When they are chosen, they are told that they have to leave all of their possessions behind. So they will literally come to the city of the Kingdom of Fasa with literally just the clothes on their backs. They don't need money. They don't need anything else. They will be, and all of that will be provided to them. So, Elena, as you have been chosen to go forth and represent your nation in the Kingdom of Fasa, describe to us the governmental structure of Hempstead.
So,
like how did your sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but how did your leader choose? Let me do that. I'm going to put you guys on the spot.
All right. So the nation of Hempstead has more of, I'm not going to say democracy because no one got voted in. It was more of a sort of like a family thing, passed down from generation to generation. And these people, they live oddly different from the citizens of Hempstead. The citizens, they live very much, I don't want technology. Don't bring technology. If it's more advanced than a plow, get away from me. Meanwhile, these guys, they're welcoming to technology. They're like, okay, it makes my life better. I don't got to work with the peons. I'm good. And as economy works, every time something gets popular, the people who make it, they get richer. So if you make a certain dye, you get richer when it's trending. You make a certain fabric that's trending at a time, you get richer. And these lovely higher-ups, they're not fans of what they call the trendy rich. So what they do is, every time FOSSA sends one of these, one of the trendy rich is going to get sent. Because they don't want their kids to get sent. No, they're going to be running this nation. They don't want anything to do with that. So might as well just sacrifice one of the trendy rich, and then we never have to see them again. Hopefully.
Love it. All right.
Yeet the rich.
Yep.
It's almost like absolute power destroys absolutely.
Absolutely. There you go.
I was going
Very
to say
nice.
that's a reverse fortunate son. I love that.
Me too. Me too. All right. I need you to roll me a D100, please.
All right. And
I wish that was in the States.
let's not get into that one. All right. This is going to be great because I actually ironically got the perfect set of dice for Christmas for this campaign.
Ooh.
It came in a little like brass pocket watch.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
nice.
Oh,
Never mind.
I've seen those are cool.
Yeah. Grant, mine's not a dice thing, but since we're showing off pocket watches for the supernatural
52.
fan.
Nice.
52. All right. Now I need you to roll me a D4, please.
All right. The D4 is going to be harder to see because unfortunately the dice are itty bitty. Like I'm not lying. They are. You can't even see
I
them.
think I've seen those. Yeah, they're like they're mini dice. Yeah,
They
they're
are
cool.
puny.
God dang. Looks like the dice for a halfling.
It's a 4.
Okay, so 13.
You'd be
13
disturbed to find out I've seen smaller.
Fair. 13 individuals were chosen from Hempstead to come to Fossa. So my question to you is, do you know any of them?
Well, the Verdant family is trendy rich right now due to the color green.
Ooh,
So
very nice.
any of the families that would be responsible for fabrics, the Verdant family would know very well. They would be very friendly with them.
Okay.
But for example, if anyone with the family that associates with the color red, they may have a little bit of contention with.
I love that whole concept that colors have issue with other colors. Just the idea of like we're the green fabrics, we don't like the red fabric. It's like,
Oh, we won't have any issues with them. We'll just avoid them when we can.
that's fair. Totally fair. I totally get that. Excellent. All right. So as you are standing there at the port, in the distance, you will see this object flying towards you, and as it gets closer, you recognize it as a Fossan airship. It's not huge, but it's pretty impressive. Has she ever seen an airship?
I'm going to say no because she's fairly recent to the trendy rich thing. She's never really seen a lot of technology.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
But if that thing is made of fabric, you guarantee she is going to try and poke that thing.
no, this probably isn't a dirigible. It probably isn't made out of fabric. It's going to be more of Well, that's not true. I lied. It's not necessarily like a traditional fabric, but it is made out of a metallic fabric.
Oh, she's gonna be looking at that thing
Okay,
like
cool.
it is the greatest thing ever.
So as it approaches, it's like this shining thing in the sky. I mean, it's glistening from the sunlight. And as it comes and it just sort of like hovers above you and then slowly lowers down. And as it rests, it's sort of these sort of like platform legs come out and it settles. At which point if anybody watching is familiar with like Jules Verne's sort of idea of technology, that's kind of what we're looking at here. You know, you have the double door that opens, goes up, and then the stairs come down. And from inside, a tall, slender woman steps forth. And and you'll probably find this extremely fascinating, Elena, as she steps forth and she's sort of wearing this sort of silken kimono style sort of outfit. More so of like a pantsuit, but has a kimono sort of style coat over it. And she steps forward and she addresses you all as candidates. My name is Leon. I will be your mentor on your travels to Fasa. If you will step this way, and as you all step forward onto the airship, she will take your names down. So when she gets to you, she'll say name.
Alana Verdant. Oh my, I love that jacket. Is that silk?
Yes.
Oh my god, it is amazing. I'm honestly trying not to sound like one of the Gabors. Just
Love
like,
it.
wow, your seamstress really takes care of that. That is amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. If you will board.
Oh, sorry.
So as you come on board, it is actually very nice. It's very like sort of plush, and there's like refreshments, and there's like these sort of like cushioned seating areas. There's stairs, circular sort of spiral stairs that go upwards to what looks like an observation deck. It's pretty neat. It's something that you've never seen before. As the last person gets on, Leon comes back on. She closes the hatch and she rings the bell. And then the airship slowly begins to lift. The legs retract and it goes up and turns and heads back to Fasa. As she sits there, she tells you, "Please feel free to partake in beverages and foods. We prepared some of your local delicacies." As well as some more foreign meals, if you would prefer. Various drinks, ranging from like water to wine to beer to these sort of weird, funny, fizzy kind of drinks. Fizzy colored drinks. There's an orange one, a purple one, and a blue one. And she says, "Please," and you'll find comfortable quarters if you go up this sort of set of stairs. If you are tired and wish to lay down, this set of stairs will lead to the observation deck if you would like to just observe our travels. But please find yourselves a comfortable spot, and if you need anything, please do not hesitate to ask. And at which point she then turns and walks out of the main cabin, and you can see where she goes, and she just sort of sits at like what looks like a desk, very Victorian style desk with knobs and gears and lights flashing on it. And she puts a little headset on, and she begins to talk to the pilot. So what do you do? inside this incredible looking sort of, it's almost like a house, like a really, really nice house.
Oh, Alana's gonna head straight to the observation deck.
Okay.
She's excited. She's too excited to eat.
Okay. All right. So up to the observation deck you go. So when you get up to the observation deck, and you can see that as the airship is slowly turning, it has gone up high enough where you can literally see almost all of Hempstead. Not all of it, but almost all of it. You can see the shorelines. It's as if you're seeing it from up above for the very first time, which I'm assuming she is. This is the first time she's ever seen her home from this perspective. And you can see all of the sort of villages and towns and factory type place. You can see everything. It's like the most amazing. And then beyond it, you can see the blue ocean, and you can see the sort of the land south of you. Maybe you can see a little bit of the islands as it slowly turns, and then Hempstead kind of fades from view behind you as it goes into the open ocean. The ocean is very, very calm. As you guys go up into the clouds pass you by, big fluffy clouds, and then you basically are above the clouds at this point, and it's just a sea of white. And you can see the blue sky, and in the distance, massively in the distance, you can see the mother planet, which is, sometimes is usually obscured. It's always there, but sometimes it's obscured by the clouds. But you get a really good look at the planet. You can see it. What's going through her head when she breaks through those clouds and she sees that for the first time?
So, Alana's parents have always told her that the gods aren't responsible for anything, but you should still thank them. Kind of like when a guest brings a gift that, doesn't really help anybody, but you still thank them for the gift anyway. So Alana kind of bows her head and thanks the mother planet for allowing her the gift of seeing it. But ultimately, it's more just out of tradition than out of actual appreciation. It's more like, okay, I've got to do this because mom told me to.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally
But
fair.
she is definitely more appreciative of the color of the sky than she is about the mother planet. Because she's never really had to worry about it before or think about it. It's just been a thing. Meanwhile, she's never seen such a clear sky.
Right. Oh, yeah. This is probably the first time she's ever seen the sky this clear. And it's like uber clear. Like no one on the planet has probably ever seen it like this. Like, other than Fossians, but it's just this beautiful shade of blue, and it just seems so calm as you sit there and and you'll see birds, sort of these sort of like bird creatures, not birds, but flying creatures, sort of coming and going in and out of the clouds. It's almost like diving in and out like dolphins would. They're medium-sized creatures with sort of like leathery feathered wings. They look a little bit like narwhals, but with wings. But they don't have like the tail, so they have more of a bird tail. But that's sort of, they have a single horn, and they're sort of rounded, and they're beautiful, and they're multicolored foliage. But they just sort of dive. They go up and then they dive down. Like dolphins would at the bow of a ship as it's going through the water.
But yeah, what's currently going through Alana's head is, I really need to talk to the Azurans about this color.
That's funny. I love that. I really need to talk about to the insurance. I love that they're like all based in colors. I just love that. That's
It's also my
fantastic.
lack of originality.
No, I think that's
I just
fantastic.
That
want
is
to
original.
But it's so funny that sometimes the simplest, what we call the most unoriginal thing is actually one of the most original things ever. I love that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I must say that is original because most people wouldn't think about doing like colors. I mean, hell, I literally named like cities in Stormhaunt after weather elements, and my character's name literally just means fire. I went basic.
Yeah, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying anything against what I did either, but I'm saying like what you did is still creative and original though.
Absolutely.
Nicole.
Absolutely. So, all right. So it's going to be about a day's journey for you, give or take. And it's a straight shot, basically. You're going from one to the other. So, all right. While you're on your way, let's go to our next person. So the next person we're going to touch on, let me roll a die. Sorry, let me do it right here. Oop, rolled the wrong thing. Sorry. There it is. Oh, 1. Okay. That will be Kel.
That's all that coming.
All right. So tell us a
Roll.
little bit about the nation you're from.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the government style and how you and the others were picked. Like, how did your system of government pick the people that they needed to go?
Yeah, so Stormhaunt is an island, actually just slightly north of the Kingdom of Fossa, so it's not too bad of a trip overall. As for the government, it is mainly a republic style with council members from each of the major cities. That way, like, because like each city will have their own government, some kind, like the mayor, stuff like that. But they still send like what would be the equivalent of like our senators to the capital to run the entire thing. As for how they choose who goes, for most people, not including my character, they mainly do a volunteer bit, just like they would for any kind of like just like armed service in real life. It's a volunteer thing. My character wasn't really given a choice. Because, like I said in my character's intro, he kind of did some stuff that was technically illegal, even though there was no harm in it, because it was all science. Like, literally, it was just science. But after the incident, some science avenues have been, marked a little no touchy. But so he was essentially, so my character, A, because I finally got the video to play for pronunciation, it's literally just A, was literally told, okay, you can either go to jail, or, oh, look what's right around the corner. It's time for volunteers. So he kind of took, the better of the two options. Not like he really had a choice.
Okay. That's
because
fair.
there's actually an option given to him by the one of the Fossins that was in Stormhaunt for the at the embassy that helped with his arrest.
Ah.
Yeah, it's
so tell us. Tell us why he was arrested specifically.
Yeah, so the kind of
or tell us as much as you want to tell us. You don't have to tell us everything.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So to kind of preface what he was doing that was essentially deemed illegal. So after the whole incident that occurred in Stormhaunt that kind of changed the map and weather patterns, most scientific avenues were put under heavy scrutiny, both by Stormhaunt and, with the request of Stormhaunt, Fossa. Because Fossa wasn't directly involved in limiting stuff. They were like, hey, if you want a helping hand, get back up and to make sure it doesn't happen again, we'll help you.
Right.
And A, along with another Jen, tried to better the experiment that kind of created the incident in the first place. But they didn't get anywhere near production and testing. Don't worry.
Yeah, no.
But they right when they were getting ready to I think it was actually right when they were getting ready to test. Let me pull up the document, the freaking background story I did. There's the raid. Yeah, so they're like almost So A and his cohort, so to speak. I'm not going to reveal names stuff like that, so it's time on that part. If Will brings that into the story, but right when they were getting ready to actually start kind of making it, minus the ingredient they thought caused the sinking. That's what the incident was called, the sinking. That was when a raid hit. Walls getting knocked down. Arya version of a flashbang getting thrown in. The whole kit and caboodle. And A getting tackled by like 5 guys.
Okay. So roll me a D100.
Yep.
And then a D4, please.
Yep. Okay. So that's a 46 on the D100.
Okay.
And that's a 2 on the D4.
Okay. So strangely enough, 23 of your compatriots and yourself have been chosen.
Okay.
So first of all, do you know any of them, like personally?
I'm going to roll percentile. High, I know some. Low, I know none.
Okay.
I don't know a single person.
Okay, cool. That's totally cool.
I should have said the other way. I know I'm going to roll low. This is me we're talking about.
Oh no, it's always low for you, man. So that's cool.
Well,
so you
I mean,
don't know anyone.
yeah.
All right, cool.
I had a nat 20 when you maybe roll the con save. It's at disadvantage.
That's true. I did kind of throw that wrench in the works for you. All right. So as you are there, they have you go to the piers down on the coastal area. It's sort of like an area where the ships come and go and things of that nature.
Okay, yeah. I actually came up with a name for that kind of city. What do I call that
like
city?
It's like a port town, basically. It's like a port.
Yeah,
city.
Embers Grove.
Yeah,
that's on the southern tip.
Right. So that's where they send all of you. So you're there for about a day or so, just whatever. But as the morning comes that you're supposed to ship out or head out, you come down to the dock and you will see a massive sailing ship docked in the port. And with the gangplank down, and a tall, sort of broad-shouldered gentleman in a uniform is standing at the bottom, and he seems a little gruffier. He seems a little gruffy, a little rough around the edges, so to speak. And he's like, he sees you all coming, and he's like, "Step lively, you lot. Line up. I said line up. Shoulder to shoulder. 2 lines. 3 at the most." Then once you all line up, sort of startled a bit, you all sort of line up. He begins a sort of ceremonial walk across as he walks and he inspects each of you. And he just sort of goes from one end to the other, just sort of looking you up and down. And he's like, "This is the best they could send, eh? Well, the journey across the water will be ample time for me to get you ship shape. Right. Load your gear up on the ship, give them your name, and then go below. And wait to be called upon." So at that point, a sort of subordinate of his comes and has a sort of like pen and paper. And as you all hit the gangplank, he takes your name. So they come to you. What do you have? What do you give them? What information do you give? So he goes, name.
I'm just going to give the first name, which is A, which is spelled as on my headline there, AODH. Because Irish love their spelling.
Indeed. Okay. You may go aboard. A little timid little man. He's very timid, sort of person.
Out of curiosity, because I would say for like today, I would have the red eyes, like I put in my sheet. Would that be causing him to be a bit more timid?
He would make note of it.
He
would be like, "Oh, okay." And he sort of like writes it. You see him scribbling in his book there, sort of like as he's observing everyone. He observes everyone and like writes little notes for each person, and then he says, "You better go, better go, better go."
Yeah, I just saunter across the gangplank.
And as you hear, the officer just like, "Get on board, you slow pokes! I don't have all day." And that's he's sort of rushing, trying to get everybody.
I would say, hearing that, because again, where A is kind of wasn't really given much of a choice. I'm actually going to purposely slow down my pace just a hair.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like being the Chaos Gremlin tonight.
Okay. I love this. Okay.
When aren't you?
So far, in most games, I'm not. But in other games, I'm usually the responsible person.
I'm the responsible one.
I mean, when did Roman do any Chaos Gremlin stuff in Phase 2?
Well, that is true. That is true. I will not lie. You were very much...
I did some stupid stuff. I wasn't Chaos
Gremlin. The good guy. You were the good guy. You really were, to a fault sometimes.
I had to do sun makeup for all those years Roman was gone.
Okay, so as you slow your roll, basically, the folks behind you are just sort of like, "What are you doing? Move, move!" You heard the man. Move, move. You sort of got a line of people now, and then you suddenly feel the gangplank vibrating heavily. As you hear the heavy footfalls of this officer coming up this gangplank, and he gets to you, and he stands in front of you, and he's slightly taller than you at this point because he's up on the higher end of the gangplank.
Yeah,
and he's looking sort of down at you, and he's like, he looks you up and down, and he goes, "You think you're funny, don't you?"
Just a hair.
We've got us to panic.
"Do you see anybody laughing?" "No, because you're not funny. You are..." He looks you up and down again, and he steps into you at this point. So you're like almost nose to nose. His is a little higher, but you're almost nose to nose. Yeah. And he just says, "Listen here, Jim. On my ship, you do what I tell you. If I tell you to step quick, you step quick, or you find yourself on the wet side of the ship, if you got my meaning."
Because he probably woke up and chose the red eye, so definitely would have been 24 hours since last change. I was going to have a smart ass reply there. Just, but hearing that, I'm just going to reply. I was like, I can get gills.
"Yes, gills only work if you can use them. Trust me, boy, you won't be able to use much if I have anything to do with it." So here's a good moment, and I'm going to ask Greg, our resident expert, if we were going to do like an intimidation, how would this work for the audience out there?
So there's a couple ways that you can do it. So you can either do a charisma contested roll. So Kel would roll attack, and you could roll defend for your NPC, or you could set a difficulty rating and call it a DR off of the DR chart. And I think in the cheat sheet that I sent you, it is.
I was kind of hoping for a moment like this. We can get some other rolls going.
Oh, did I not
Some
send it to
people
you?
wait a
Okay. I
lifetime.
did not send it to you. In the book, it's on page 5 at the bottom
Okay.
left. So I would say that you would probably, for this situation, you would probably want to do it as a challenge rather than contested, but that's up to you.
A contested role, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. So what am I rolling?
That would be charisma versus charisma.
Let me get in there.
Or you could do, like I said, an easy DR, which would be like a value of 4 or better.
All right, and then
Let's do charisma again versus charisma. I think that'll be fun.
okay. So when we do the roll on the sheet, after I switch the roll category to charisma, and obviously leave it at level 1 because I only have a 1 in charisma. Does it matter which button I click in the foundry?
It'll all roll, yeah.
Okay.
So you have met or exceeded. So in this instance, you have you are successful in your attempt.
I'd have to say because
I'm just using a random character in the thing because I haven't built a character yet for this guy. So you met it, you beat it. So
sweet.
So you don't back down, and he sees that you don't back down, and then he looks at you, and he says, "All right, I can respect that. Right, get your gills up on deck."
Yeah, I'll start moving that point at a normal pace.
Okay, and then he'll go back down.
Anybody else get Major Pain vibes?
I love that.
Just saying.
That would be the case if
you wind up bald in like the next cut, I'm not gonna be surprised.
Okay, that would be fair. I'd say it'd be more Major Pain if I failed the roll.
Yeah, seriously.
I think that probably been more. I can't remember the character's name. Hacksaw Ridge, where it was Vince Vaughn and Andrew Garfield's character.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking more. Where it's the whole like, okay, now I see you.
There.
No, because Cadet Stone was never really scared of Major Pain.
Except
he was the one who
grenade.
was. That was the only. I think he was more scared of the grenade than he was about the Major.
That was funny. And yes, it's a sailing ship, not an airship.
Yeah.
Just so young. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I thought it would be funny to say.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the weather around Stormhawk probably wouldn't allow for an airship still. Too much.
Yeah, too much turbulence, too much craziness.
Yeah.
So all right. So
would anyone be concerned on a prison trip?
Yeah, fair enough. So you all get on board. They pull the gangplank. You can hear him barking orders as they begin to set sail out of or at least maneuver out of the port. When you see as they pull the gangplank in, and I mean, you've seen sailing ships before. You know, this one's not a whole lot different. Looking wise, it looks like a regular sailing ship. But as you're on deck, you hear the whirrings. So these like, so on the sides of the ship, you'll see these hatches open on the sides of the ship, and these what look like turbines come out and go into the water. And you hear them going, and they start up, and the ship begins to move forward. They maneuver it out of the port. Once they get into open seas, the turbines will stop and come back into the ship, and then they'll drop the sails, and then they will sail to the Kingdom of Fassa. As you're on deck, the captain or the first officer, because that's who was bringing you on, will say, look to Mr. Smead for your duty assignments. And that's the little man that was taking your names, and he'll come to each of you and give you duty assignments because you have to work the ship in order to get to the kingdom. It's not going to be anything like the cushy airship that Elena's on. This is going to be work.
You're going to work always get easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's not really. I mean, it's going to be grueling at points because you. I mean, we're talking.
Oh, I know.
We're talking about maintaining, scrubbing.
Oh yeah,
the barnacles and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're essentially cabin boys. During this trip.
Basically, yeah. And so Mr. Smead will come around and give everyone their assignments. You are assigned to the galley. You will be helping Cookie, the cook, because you'll have and helping him basically make meals down below. So he says, report to your stations. When you go down below, you find Cookie, and he's this sort of like really, really rail thin man. He looks almost like gaunt, like he's like really sick, but he's not. He's just really a thin dude, and he's just like dressed like a typical cook on a sailing ship. And he's like, oh, you're my help. Good. Here. And he hands you this huge pot. And he's like, I need you to skin all of those and put them in there and then put water in that and heat it to exactly 750 degrees. No more, no less. Exactly 750. Do you understand me?
So when he pointed to the pile of potatoes I need to peel, how big is this pile? Like A is probably about 5'11".
It's probably it's about up to your like mid thigh.
Oh shit, that's a lot of taters.
Yeah, well, they're not potatoes.
Oh no, sorry, that's what
they're like a root vegetable of some kind of like a potato, but they're not potatoes. They're like purplish green in color.
Yeah.
They've got like a leathery skin, and he gives you a peeler, which is really not the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please tell me at least it's sharp.
Yeah, and he's like, here you go. You can, and then he goes back to what he's doing. Yeah, and these things are gross. They're absolutely the leathery skins. Actually, the color comes off on your hands, staining your hands this sort of purpley green color. So when you cut the skin, it's almost kind of like a slimy consistency. Like the root inside has this sort of gooey, slimy, So
all it's reminding me of is Japanese mountain yams. Because when you grate those, it looks slimy as hell.
Real quick, even though I said in the private chat, I still gotta get this joke out on air. Please tell me they have the 5 basic food groups.
There are only 4: beans, bacon, whiskey, and lard.
Yeah, they've got it.
Sorry, when you said the name, I had to go.
I know you did. I know. So he does, and he goes back to his thing. So you're doing that. All right.
Yeah, I was like begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly. All right, let's go and see who's next, shall we? Let me do D4 this time. A 4. That will be. Oh, that'll be Lisa because Thangwin's not here. So, Lisa. Or Katerina. All right. So, a little bit about your government, a little bit how your people were chosen.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Okay. So, I have to go a little bit more into the backstory then for that. Katerina Zephyrian is a member of the King's Guard, the Elite Guard, which is mostly made up of kind of the Fortunate Sons, Cal, the sons and daughters of nobility or people in favor with the king. She is there by nature, the fact that she was in the town guard, and she actually, by virtue of being in the right place at the right time, actually saved the life of the king from an assassination attempt. And in thanks for that, he appointed her to his guard, the Elite Guard. Her very name, Zephyrian, is a name given to people that grew up wards of the church of, and I'm trying to remember, was it Zephyrus? Was that the god?
I think so. I can double check while you're talking.
Yeah, I didn't open up that document, but basically they're signed that last name, which tells everybody that you're nobody. But when she came out of, aged out of the church, where she was, went into the town guard, and then now she's in the elite guard. And she's not very welcome there because she's not nobility, but because she has the king's favor, they can't do much about it. And the king is a new king, King Benedict. He's been reigning about 1.5 years after his father died. And when the call came in to send delegates, he chose the captain of the elite guard, Captain Weatherly, chose names of people in the elite guard to go on this, to be delegates. She was not on that list, but the king changed it, took someone off and put her in. So that's how she ended up in this group.
Okay. And the god that you're wondering about, I put it in the Twitch chat, but it's Zephyrus, the god of the winds.
Zephyrus.
Yes. Yeah, we can talk real quick. Let me talk about gods, because gods in Aria are not as prominent as they were in like Orlando. They're here. They don't really intercede much, or at all, really. I mean, they're there in case, this, that, or the other. Sometimes they may answer a call, but it's very rare. But then we know that they're there because they let you know they're there. But yeah. So, but the gods are not super active, like in the affairs of people. Okay, so you and let me see, roll me a d20.
$16.
And a d4.
4.
Okay, so there are approximately 4 of you are chosen to go.
Okay.
So as you are there, waiting, in the distance, you will see, very similar to what Alana saw when the sort of airship was approaching. This one's a little bigger. Not a little bigger. Well, it's about the same size as the one that Alana was picked up in. But it's sort of this gleaming. It gleams as the sun hits it. It looks almost brand new, so to speak. But it comes and it slowly again it descends. The legs come out. It lands. It opens, and a rather short, sort of stout man steps forward off the airship, and he says, "Hello, I am Bean. I am your guide to Fossa. So please step forward, give me your name, and board the ship, please." And as you step forward, he takes names down. He gets to you. And he goes, "Name, please."
Katerina Zephyrian.
Very well. You may board, please. And then the others come on, and as they finish, he comes up on, the doors close. And inside this one, again, is the same sort of setup of various foods and beverages from not just your own place, but your own nation, but also from Fossa, things of that. There's stairs that go up to sleeping quarters, stairs that go up to an observation deck. And he will say, "Please feel free to move about and relax and enjoy some food and some drink here." And he goes to hits the button, and you feel the airship sort of begin to lift. The legs come in, and it lifts up. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I will be here, as he points to his little station, for the duration of our journey. And then he just sort of says, "Please help yourselves." And he goes and he sits at his desk and he puts his headphones on and knobs and twisting, and he's talking to the pilot as the airship lifts and begins to slowly turn to head back to where it came from. So, Katerina, where is your brain at this point?
I am so anxious to look around and look at everything, but right now I'm waiting for the captain of the guard did not come, but the lieutenant, who's our direct superior, did come. So kind of waiting for, it's not enough for Mr. Bean to say you can, feel free to look around. We're waiting for permission from the lieutenant. And I used modern day ranks because just easier for everyone to understand rather than making up new ones and then not knowing where that fell into a hierarchy. So we're all cool. The three of us are kind of just standing at parade rest waiting for him to release us or
so he sort of Bean kind of wanders and goes to a station and does his thing. What's the lieutenant's name?
Lieutenant Cooper.
Okay. So Lieutenant Cooper, he sees Bean go, and he looks at the three of you and he says, "At ease, enjoy yourselves, but keep your eyes open." And he goes and he sits in the corner and just sort of sits there with his arms sort of crossed, just sort of looking around like he's taking mental notes. Almost. Okay, so he's dismissed you.
I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the food. I'm looking at the drinks. I'm looking at the walls and the structure, like the staircase, like feeling this, the metal.
Right.
It was like, and then eventually I will also go up to the observation deck.
Okay. As you're sort of like touching things and sort of looking at things, this is probably stuff that you've never seen before. Obviously, it's design that you've never seen. It's materials that you've never seen. A lot of the metal is smooth for the most part, except for where it is textured. Where it's textured, the funny thing about the texturing on the metal work is it's quite pleasing to the touch. It's not rough. It's that nice sort. It's almost smooth. It almost feels like as if you're running your hands across velvet. Wow. But it's metal. As the food, all the foods that you see foods that you're used to that you would probably have experienced in East Haven, but there are new foods that you've never seen before. That sort of fancifuls and sort of little nibbly things here and there. Various meats and cheeses of that region, some cakes and sweet things, tarts and all that sort of thing. And then, of course, there's the different colored fizzy drinks, as well as like wine and water and beer, that sort of thing. And yeah, you can help yourself. You can taste things. You can do whatever you want. Like I said, your lieutenant has dismissed you to go.
Yeah. Try a little of this, a little of that.
Okay. So as you do, you'll find things that you like, find things you don't like, and it's like, oh, okay, that's neat. That's a little, it's a little spicy for my taste, or a little too sugary, or that sort of thing. But if you get to the fizzy drinks, you're really gonna like those.
Absolutely.
They're very, very unique. You've never tasted anything like them, and they're So yeah. So once you're done eating and tasting food, you go up to the observation deck.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go up to the observation deck, and one of your compatriots is up there already, sort of sitting there just watching. There are nice cushioned bench seats that you can sit in and sort of watch as you do see East Haven and sort of go out of sight as it's crossing over into the ocean, and it begins to go up in elevation or altitude, and heads up till you pass through the clouds up into that area just above the cloud line, where again the sky is crystal clear, and you can see the mother planet sort of outlined there, and you can see those creatures, eventually will come and be in and out of the clouds. So yeah, what do you do when you see this for the first time?
I'm trying to keep my wings from coming out. I mean, like expanding my wings because I want to fly so bad right now. It's like, oh my. So I will find a seat far away from my compatriot and just take it all in. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So it'll be about a day's journey, give or take. Maybe a little over a day's journey to get to Fossa, but there's places for you to rest, and yeah, there'll be plenty of food because there is a galley that can cook foods down the one deck below. And yeah, so it's literally, they are just sort of like pampering you, really. It's like they're treating you like, royalty almost. Well, some of you anyway. Poor A has to work his way across.
Those of us aren't causing trouble.
True. He was causing trouble. That's so true. All right, so you're on your way. All right, so we're going to go to Garth Alfredi. And if you could just tell us just a little bit, not a whole lot, you don't have to go into any major detail, just sort of like a little bit of the sort of social structure on the Fenris Isles, and how your government or your leaders, your chiefs, how they chose the people that are going. So I'll let you take.
Well, Fenris Isles has Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead. Do what you got. You go. You're on. It's on you now.
Okay. All right. The Fenris Isles basically runs on a tribal council type one of the other races in all of area that happens to have some good used to has some each of the council members chose somebody from their various races, because there is a council member for each different race on the council, or representative of each of the races on the council, and it's 7 members. So each one of them sent somebody from their race that seemed to have a good young, or there would be good young people that looked like they had a lot of potential that hadn't been fully unlocked, but it had a very promising capabilities, and picked them to be representative to go to FASA, and Goth happened to be one of the lucky ones.
All right, cool. So roll me a D100 and then a D4.
All right, I will attempt to do that,
No problem.
assuming technology will cooperate with me. And accidentally closed my browser and forced me to have to restart my computer just to get back in. All right. Skip it. I'll do it the old-fashioned way with dice.
The dice goblin sees nothing wrong with that.
Nope. The more dice, the merrier. Unless it's damage die. Then less is more.
Fine, if you want to put it that way. But that's just when you incorporate the damage dice into new shiny dice.
That's true.
And then you have even better dice.
Exactly. I'm all for more dice.
And 84.
Okay.
And a 3.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there were
At
10...
my place, I'm slowly becoming a dice dragon.
That's fair. All right, so 10 of your people were chosen to go. As you are all standing there in your port town waiting for the whatever is coming to get you, whoever is coming to get you, you observe the water in the port begins to bubble like violently. Just like massive air bubbles popping. I mean, just like it's almost like the water's boiling. It's a little frightening, actually, to people. Like, oh, we've never seen something like this before. Blah blah blah. And then from the water emerges this mechanical contraption, which is yes, a submarine. It is very, if you're familiar with Jules Verne, it's very like the Nautilus looking sort of submarine. It comes up and it stands and you can see it sort of shifts to your port, and then a gangplank extends outward, latches onto your pier there, the hatch, and it comes out and opens. A rather, salty sea dog steps forward and says, ahoy there, I am Captain Garon. If you will step this way, I'm here to take you to Fossa. If you'll step forward, give us your name, and then you may step on board. As each of you comes up, they take your name, they get to you, and they go, name.
Goth Alfredi.
He writes that down. He's like, all right, aboard you go. Eventually, they get all of you on board, and he barks down. He goes, "Prepare to shove off." And at which point, the gangplank detaches, retracts into the sub, and he closes the door, locks it in place. He pushes the button. Right, let's head out. Head out to sea. The submarine will then begin to sail, turn to port and begin to sail out into open ocean. As it's sailing out, the gentleman that welcomed you aboard or brought you aboard says, We've got stuff for you here from the the higher ups. We were told to put this out, so help yourselves. Find what you want. I don't care. Just be careful as you're wandering around. Just don't touch things. If you don't know what it does, don't touch it. Because if you do, it could kill us all. So don't do that. If it says don't go there, don't go there. But otherwise, enjoy your stay aboard the ship. There are observation areas. This is it's huge. This thing is massive. It's like a ship. So there are multiple decks. There is on the forward deck an observation sort of half-rounded observation room that you can go up and sit in and literally see where the sub is moving and where it's going. There's also one in the aft section where you can go. It is small and yellow. No, I'm just kidding. And there's an aft observation deck as well. There's a galley. There's a place that where you can go and eat. The galley will be like sort of a cafeteria style thing. There are crew quarters, and there are also places for each of you to stay. It's not as luxurious as the airships, but it's pretty comfortable. But I think that the coolest part of it is that you'll all be underwater. And so he says, enjoy yourselves. If you need anything, there's the green button there on the wall. Press that, and someone will help you with whatever you need. And he kind of just goes away and leaves you there. So what do you do, Garth?
I start looking around and think to myself, I never thought they'd make them this big. I'm just used to the small yellow ones that my family uses.
That's funny. The small yellow ones. Okay. Yeah, this one's
Did you
massive.
just use it or did you live in it?
Oh. Good question.
I mean, let me tell you, because you need to have lived in the yellow submarine.
That's classified information.
The Azurians, are they the blue meanies?
No, but they always do seem a little sad.
Oh, fair enough. Because the greenies are like in favor right now. So of course they're all sad. So all right, yeah, you can, yeah. This is pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. It's like a cruise ship. It's very, it's not, like I said, it's not like the airships, and it's not very like plush and all that. But there are like curtains and like these sort of plush curtains over the portholes, and the seating is sort of cushioned in various colored like fabrics. There are tables for you to like play games or eat at, or however you would like. There are games. They're like card games and dice games for the most part. But yeah, there are stairs that lead up to an upper deck. The deck you're on sort of it's two decks in one. There's a big open in the middle, and there's sets of stairs that go up on either end that take you up to the next deck, which is the observation decks. And if you go up there, you can see the big one in the front, and then the back one in the aft section. And if you go up a few more levels, you'll come to the Aqua Dome, which is this sort of large, elongated dome at the very top of the submarine that you can kind of come up in and kind of stand and see and be sort of like on eye level with things. And so as it was it's going into things, you'll hear them call. You hear them go, all right, let's submerge. And then you hear the ballasts go, the sort of whoosh. And you can see bubbles coming up on the side of the ship as it slowly begins to go below the waves as it's moving forward. and the waves sort of start to rush over it as it sinks beneath the ocean and begins its journey to Fossa. So what do you do? Where do you go from here, Garth? So you just below the waves.
I'm gonna look and see if there's a band that's playing.
A band?
Yes.
No, there's no band. No band playing, but there is a. If you ask for a band, they will introduce you to a new contraption that they've invented recently that collects sound waves, and you can actually listen to music on a small box.
Wait, there's a transformer here? I hope it's not a Decepticon.
No, it's just a little
It's
radio.
the company that made this box called Boom.
Boom, exactly. The company's name is Boom. This is their boom box. So they introduce that. Oh, if you would like to listen to music, there is this, and he turns the knob, and music begins to play. Of course, it's Fossen music because that's all they have on board. But it's not bad.
I gotta remember, it's only the yellow ones where the bands are on there playing.
They don't. There's no live music on this one. So the submarine makes its way to Fossa. So, and you're on your way. All of your trips are pretty smooth for the most part. We're going to go back to Alana. So, Alana, as you are sort of, there's a moment where you probably went and rested. Again, you're going to find all sorts of fabrics on board this thing that you probably are not familiar with, or at least you're probably familiar with them, but not the cuts and how they've kind of fashioned them into things. Since most fabrics in the world come from Hempstead. So you're going to recognize a lot of the fabrics used. It's just how they're used that's probably going to be new to you. But you really do. You kind of find a lot, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's like kid in a candy store. So
It literally is.
Yeah. So what does she do? I mean, when she sees all this stuff, I mean, is she taking notes, or is she, what is she doing? Like mental notes? What is she doing?
She actually has like a small notebook that she keeps for situations just like this, because she actually loves sewing. So she's like, oh wow, you can use denim as a type of backing for furniture. You can use canvas. You don't need to use cotton batting. You can use like a linen batting.
Denim.
She's just excited. She's like, oh my god, I never thought you could use it like that. Oh wow, is that? She's even like mumbling to herself.
Right. So, as you're kind of like meandering about, the tall woman that you met at the beginning, Leon, she comes in and she's sort of drinking what looks like tea from the thing. She's like sort of like very proper, sipping her tea, and she says, "Are you enjoying your excursion?" As she sips her tea.
Oh yes, it's amazing. I didn't realize you could use so many different fabrics for things that I've never even seen before. I mean, how did you all even think to use velvet like this?
Well, I'm not privy to such information. As she sips her tea, she's like, "But you will be able to ask such questions when we get to our destination. I'm sure there'll be someone there who would love to fill you in on the history and styles of fabrics and the way they're used. I'm sure." And she sips her tea. She's like, "Can I get you anything? Can I interest you in a beverage of some sort?"
Water would be nice. Thank you very much.
Very good. I will contact hospitality and have them bring you some water. That little pun, that was for our creator over there. And she will go, and then someone will come with a tray with water on it. Really nice, very like a crystal goblet type thing. It's very fancy. And as you're there, you'll hear them sort of announcing over the intercoms that they're beginning to come into port. All passengers prepare for disembarkation. And if you go, and people begin to go to like the observation deck to sort of watch them coming in. Do you go up as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You're going to get to where you see the city for the first time, and I'm going to stop there because I want to get everybody to this point, and then I'm going to describe the city itself to everyone. All right, so let's go to A. You're on the ship as you've done multiple cooking duties. You have shelled and peeled and plucked and all manner of things that you probably hope you never have to do again. You hear someone call out on board, like land ho, as they begin to pull into the port. So with all of the stuff that you've been forced to do, what has been going through A's mind as he's been peeling and plucking and pulling and God knows what else down below?
Probably. I was like, how much of the pile do you think is on?
Well, you got that whole pile done. I mean,
okay.
You're gonna have the distance was about a day, so you would have cooked 2 different meals at this point.
Okay, I didn't know how much time it passed. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's good.
Okay, yeah. So if at that point, kind of thinking like, one, thank the gods we're about to get on land. Because probably being cramped into the barracks of the ship was not pleasant. It's probably like it was in that one scene of Treasure Planet where it's like, hammock.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Well, it'd be more like bunk beds, like 3 bunks to a wall.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking hammock because like as the ship sways.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean you would be. There are rails on the side because you would be rolling.
Oh, okay, so they actually have where you get the bunks. Okay, cool. Either way, still. And the other one, more so as a joking thought to myself, is going like, I should have chose prison.
I should have chose.
And he's saying as he's looking at his hands, they're still stained with that purplish green.
Oh yeah, and you don't smell too well either.
I'm pretty sure no one does.
Yo, no. I mean, there's no bathing facilities.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be everyone.
So you've got that purple green on all over you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of gross. But you hear them call land ho. All passengers to the upper deck, please. You hear that sort of whistle, the bosun's whistle go off. And do you head upstairs or head up on deck?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and unlike when A was getting on the ship, he's actually gonna bolt it to the deck because he's ready to see he's ready to see where he's gonna be getting off finally.
Okay, so before you head out, Cookie goes, hey, here, take this with you as a parting gift. And
I reach out and grab whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a small sack of tannet root, which is the things that you were peeling. He's like, here you go. You never know when you might get hungry again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go like, thanks. As I I hold it out as far as I can.
Like, oh, okay, thank you.
And I would probably say by the time I get to because what deck are we on, and how many decks are on this?
You would have 2 decks to get to the top, so you're about 3 decks down.
Okay, yeah. So I'd probably say just before the main deck. I'm gonna especially if there's no one really close by yet, as I said, I was kind of looking up top. I'm gonna just tuck the bag of roots behind the stairwell, completely out of view.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that way too is also a little bit of karma for giving me galley duty. Whenever they rot, if they do rot, they're gonna be like,
Oh, they
"Where's
do
that smell
indeed.
coming from?"
Oh
I
yeah,
feel.
that smell will permeate the ship too.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me since this is a prison ship. They're already halfway to rotting anyway.
Nah,
Probably
yeah,
so.
Greg. I'm not trying to hide. I'm trying to hide
Yeah.
the bag.
Are all of his fingers intact?
I mean,
To be honest,
you
probably do have bandages on some of them.
Oh yeah, there's probably
peeler.
gonna be like. Oh, now from the peeler, there's probably a moment too where because I'm sure he probably had me dice stuff up too. So like as I'm trying to do like the dicing tech, like the slice technique, I'm probably like going to nip myself somewhere.
Oh. Yeah, you probably like jabbed yourself a couple of times.
Yeah,
As someone
is
who's
good with
also
science,
worked with
not
vegetable
culinary.
peelers, I expect a couple of knuckles to be a little
Yeah,
raw.
that's what knuckles.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't trust mandolins anymore.
Oh, that's fair. That is fair.
Okay. Oh god. Okay. So all right. So you ditch the tannic roots. And
yeah, behind one of the stairs.
You head to the main deck. As you go up to the main deck, you'll see the ship is pulling up to the port. You'll see the sails come in, sort of like down and kind of fold in, and then you'll hear the side doors open and the motors basically come out.
Yeah,
and turbines, and then starting up, and they slowly pull you into port. And then let me go to the next, and that will be Lisa or Katerina. So on your trip over is again, it's uneventful as they all are. It's just a nice smooth ride. The little gentleman Bean comes and he's sort of checking in on everyone, and he's like, "So, do you need anything? We are about to be in Safasa. So I have come to see if you need anything before we dock and you disembark."
I perfectly fine, but thank you.
Oh, very well. No, you very well. All right. If you need anything, you know where to find me, and I will help you in any way I can. Very good. And he sort of trots off. And then you hear over the thing, all passengers stand by for docking, and passengers prepare for disembarkation. And then Bean will come on and go, "If you would like to see us pull into the city, please go to the forward observation deck, and then we will collect you from there."
Absolutely.
Okay, so up the stairs you go to the observation deck, and at this point, the observation deck is just these sort of simple windows. But as you approach the city, the sort of rounded end of the airship will literally just like open this way, and it's all glass. So you can now see like a panoramic view of
top of the world.
The same thing will happen, Elena, on yours as well. They would have opened the front hatches or the front blinds, and it'd be like a panoramic view. All right, so as we are going, we go to Garth and the submarine. Is he here? Oh, he's not here, but I'll talk about it anyway. As the submarine pulls up and in, it begins its ascent. As it releases it pushes the water out, and it begins to go up. It breaches the surface again. We see Gareth, Alfredi, and the others in the forward observation deck as it's pulling into port. So now, everyone, the sight you see is probably a sight that, if you have seen it, it still blows you away. And those of you who have never seen it, it absolutely will knock you off your feet. When each of your vessels pulls into port in Fossa City, the central city or the capital of the Kingdom of Fossa, is this sort of futuristic style, sort of almost it's steampunk, but it's so out of your understanding that it's so futuristic looking. There are like simple flying machines that are flying back and forth in the sky. There are, you can see, those of you up in the airships coming in, you can see the what in essence are trains, like the L, like in Chicago, like subway trains type of things, taking people back and forth. You can see what look like cars. You're seeing all manner of technology. These sort of tall buildings with these sort of really beautifully curved pagoda-style roofs. And in the central part of the city, you can see the palace itself. Okay, here comes some. So as you're all pulling in again, you can see the city itself. This is beautiful, beautiful city with these sort of pagoda roofs. And in the center of that is the palace, which its roof is a slightly different color. It's more these sort of beautiful shades of red and orange. As the city around it, the roofs are more like a bluish green color. But as each of your vessels sort of comes in, this is the first sight that you see. This super technologically advanced city. Again, it is steampunk. It's not like futuristic like what we would consider, but you can see there are flying machines and trains and cars and the idea of those sorts of ideas, contraptions. So each of you, I'm going to go along and just tell me what your character is. What are they like? Where are their minds at this point? So let's go. We'll start with Elena as your airship is pulling in, and sort of the minute it comes sort of over or down out of the clouds, you can immediately see the city. I mean, it's vast. It's a massive city.
I think at that point, Elena.exe stops working because she's never seen buildings that tall or a train or a cart. Like I said, anything more technologically advanced than a plow is for tourists. And she does not deal in tourists.
Okay. Okay, that's cool.
So she's just in awe at like, how is that thing moving so fast? Oh my God, how did they get the building up that high? How did they get the roofs to go out that far and then curve up? That is freaking amazing. How the heck did they do that?
Okay, very cool.
And then, of course, to tie back into her being a little fashion nerd, oh my God, what type of fabrics do they come up with over here?
I love it.
Always ties into fabrics, y'all.
As well it should. As well it should. I love that. All right, let's go to Katerina. We'll do the airships first. So Katerina, as the airship breaches the cloud level layer, and immediately the clouds sort of swirl and clear, and there you can see Fossa City for the first time. And you're muted.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
She's literally trying to maintain her professional decorum, but she's literally like bouncing on the tips of her feet. This is like the most beautiful thing she has ever seen in her life. Like she can't even focus on one thing because something else will catch her attention. She's just like a kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God.
Okay. Very good. As you're sort of like ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah, Lieutenant Cooper comes up behind you and your compatriots and says, in sort of hushed, whispered tones, "Don't forget why you're here." And then he just walks away.
I'm like, We're here to. Okay. But it will kind of snap her out of her giddiness and back to her reality.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go
Reality, what's that?
to. No, oh, hey, welcome back. Let's go to Gareth Alfredi as the submarine ascends and breaches through the water into the port of Fossa City, and Gareth sees Fossa City for the first time. And I don't know if you were here when I was describing it, but it's this sort of futuristic city. There's like flying machines and these massive sailing ships in the port. The buildings are tall with these beautifully arched upward pagoda roofs. You can see in the center of the city, even from the port, because the palace is up higher, you can see the palace there, and the roof of the palace is sort of these sort of reds and oranges, and then the other roofs are sort of like greens and blues and that sort of thing. But you can see like what we would call cars or automobiles, and you can also see elevated like trains, basically, that carry people back and forth. So this is his first time seeing this technological marvel. So as it breaches the water and the water sort of clears off the dome, you see the city for the first time. So where is Gareth's mind when he sees this city for the first time?
Cars do fly.
They indeed do. Here, anyway. Okay. All right.
I thought it was a myth.
Yeah, and you'll see them. They're flying back and forth. These sort of mechanized
Then again,
flying.
so do
machines.
people think it was a myth that bandits live on the yellow submarine.
Okay. All right. Cool. So the submarine will come into port there, and the gangplank will come out. They'll open the hatch.
You'll snap back into reality and pay attention to surroundings.
Okay. Cool. And you guys can disembark from the sub onto the dock there. All right. So Elena and Katerina, your airships will land in their respective sort of air pads. And Bean with Katerina and Leon with Elena will say, I hope you enjoy your stay. Good luck to you, as they open the hatches and they let you out. And when you guys exit the airships, it's sort of like going to an airport. It's really what it is. It's just massive. There are people everywhere. As you come off of the airships, you will see people with signs with your nation's name on it. And that you just basically, you go to the Bean will tell Katerina, just find your nation, the sign with your nation's name on it, and go there, and they'll instruct you what to do from that point. Leon will tell Elena the same thing. Just find the placard with your nation's name, and then they'll explain from that point. Gareth, same thing on the dock. They'll say just look for your particular nation, and then they will take it from there. The ship is docking in, so you see this city for the first time. Where's his mind at?
All right, so what I'm thinking how this plays out, and actually got to thought about quick question for either Will or Greg on this part. When it comes to Jin, if they choose Wing of the Mutation, would the wings be present the entire time for as long as it's mutation, or could it be something like how that look on a Jin, real quick?
Greg?
So this is really more on Will's side. The way that I've always envisioned it, although it's not explicitly written,
Yeah.
is that you have it dormant until you use it, but once you've used it, it's out.
Okay.
So like you'd have the wings like potentially in your back, and then you might have sort of an explosive moment where they come out, but then once they're out, you can't stow them again.
Okay.
But that's just my perception.
Yeah. Well, is that how you want to go about it? Because I'm cool either way. I was curious before I described
what
it.
I would like. No, I would rather you decide as the character because it is a character thing. And
yeah.
If you want it to be visible, then cool. If not, then that's cool too. You just you tell me what you want, and we'll go with it.
Yeah. No, I was kind of thinking where they can kind of like stow and pull out at will.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool.
Just because there may be moments where it's kind of hard to walk through a door.
Right. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Said every Perry ever.
Yeah. Katarina. Oh, sorry. I don't know where that cough came from.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So because with it being the new day, definitely going to choose the wings on this part because I would imagine that once he got on deck, I would put sprout the wings and I would fly up. Now, I know you said the sail like closes down and then it folds in.
Well, they come down.
The mast fold into?
Not the mast, but the quarter arms they fold up into the mast.
Okay.
So it's just the masts are all that are there.
All right. Is there a boom on this mast at all, or is it just a mast?
It's just in the center of the ship is the main mast, and it's just a mast. And then
there's no boom on it.
Yeah, there's no boom on it. No, they literally everything folds in to this. Sort of column.
Well, I would kind of still imagine when it folds in.
You can land on the top of it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to go that high, but I guess I will. Either way, cool. Yeah, but I'm going to just fly to essentially what would be the crow's nest.
Okay.
Or who knows? Maybe it's a Perry's nest in this system. Hey, I got set up for
Rude.
it.
So you get up there and there's a Perry going, "Get out of here!"
Yeah, I'm ignoring him because I'm just looking out.
You're in my nest.
Because as far as aid is concerned, like even though Fossa is in Stormhaunt to kind of aid them in rebuilding from the sinking, there's whenever moments like that happen, there's always a bit like, oh, they're stifling. Especially when it came to like how they help police the science aspect of the community.
Right.
You hear stories of like, oh, what happens to people they arrest? But then he's seeing the kingdom for the first time, and it's almost how Alana did, with the whole, A.exe stopped working. Because he's just mesmerized seeing all the technology that is now literally at his feet, essentially. That he'll be able to fiddle with.
Right.
So he's kind of just dumbstruck.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. So cool. And then as the captain or the first mate will like, hey, it's time for you to get off my ship.
Yeah, that'll probably be what snaps me out of it. How high up is the Perry's nest? That's what I'm calling them from now on, whether it's the actual name or not.
I mean, we're looking at these things. This ship is huge.
Yeah.
So it's a good 60 feet to the crow's nest. The observation deck.
So what I want to do, and if you want to make me roll for this, I'm perfectly fine with that as well. What I want to do is essentially nosedive, but then last second wings help soften the landing.
I would call that
showing off. Is that what
you're
doing?
Oh yeah, we're going full pageantry here.
Fair. So let's ask our expert.
He didn't volunteer for. He didn't volunteer for this. He's like, you know what? I was going to have the fun of it now since I'm in a place with technology.
Absolutely. So, Greg, how would we do something like that for our audiences listening to us out there?
I would consider this an acrobatic maneuver of some kind.
I would too.
So,
I'm
how I would do this is I would set something off of page 5, one of the DRs.
Yeah.
I
can do that.
I would probably set, especially at lower levels, most things at easy. That's still fairly difficult for level 1 players.
DR of 28, please. No,
the 1d4.
Yeah.
So an easy still requires a roll of 4 or better, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll set it at the easiest set, so you can you will roll a d4.
Okay. What would I be using for the roll though? You said acrobatics, but it's not dexterity. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's not acrobatics in here. That's what threw me. I don't know if it would be dexterity or something else you choose.
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
What? You surged twice and got a 10? Well, this would be a moment that I would reward that was something just epic in terms of role play.
Absolutely.
That makes up for the nat 1 earlier, even though I succeeded that.
That's a roll.
That's a heck of a roll. What the hell is that all about?
What's actually, since that's the first surge, do you want to explain surging?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So surging is any time you roll the maximum value on a die, you get to re-roll that die again and add it to the total. So you roll a 4 and then another 4 and then a 2 on a 1d4. That's insane.
And now the rest of the rolls for like the next 3 sessions are gonna be crap.
That's all right. But you got our first surge of the night, though. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Honestly, that's pretty badass. Cool. All right, so describe this maneuver.
Yeah, so
make it good.
Oh yeah. So what's going to happen is I'm assuming the Perry's Nest. There's probably a little platform outside of the ring where you don't fall off, where the ladder would be,
Yeah.
So he's going to go onto the edge of that, almost like a diving board, and jump. And I'll probably say he does, probably a few corkscrew spins going down. And just because A is feeling really cocky about this for some reason, he is literally going to wait to the last minute second before sprouting his wings. So he'll probably if he waited longer, he would have ate shit on the deck.
Fair. Okay.
Because literally it's it would be the equivalent of flying map of the earth, flying lower than snake shit type, pulling up. That's how close he is to the deck when he stops.
I'm just getting that scene from Treasure Planet where he's solar surfing and then he just falls.
Yeah.
And then he just catches himself a second before he hits the ground and just starts up again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
but at that point I'm like, you little shit.
And what will probably happen too, just for more pageantry in this case, is he'll probably fly almost all the way to the stern of the ship, come up, loop around, and that's when he'll land. And he'll probably land in front of the first mate too, just to piss him off too.
Okay, so you do all these maneuvers and acrobatics, and you land in front of him, and he just looks at you and just says, "I knew you'd be trouble. Now get off my ship."
Yeah, I was A's just going to do the whole winking as he walks off.
Okay, and as you're leaving, Mr. Smee goes, "Just look for the name of your nation on a placard and go and meet there, and they'll give you further instructions." So as you come off the ship, there will be multiple ships unloading, and you'll just find a placard that has your nation. So once you find your groups, they will escort you into this massive sort of what looks like a convention center that's attached to towards this, not the center of the city, but close to it. And they kind of put everyone in this sort of large room, rounded room. And in this sort of at one side of it is sort of this tall sort of lectern pedestal. And there's a rather smartly dressed gentleman up there. And he puts this thing to his mouth and begins to speak. And you can all hear him loud and clear. And he says, "My name is Minister Turak. Welcome to Fossa City. Brave candidates. At this time, we will separate you into your cohorts. Please be listening for your names and where to report." At which point, a woman will stand, again, a very well-dressed, sort of minister-looking, woman will stand up, and she will begin reading names. Just going. You'll hear your name. Actually, no, Elena, you'll hear your name first. Let's go with you first. It'll go Elena. What is it? Verdante.
Verdant. Yeah.
Okay, Verdant. Report to Professor Mercutio. And you'll see people with signs above their heads with their names on
Tell me, does Professor Mercutio have an issue with Professor Tybalt?
They might. They might. There might be some friendly competition and joking around. And
As long as there's not
swords might be involved at some point. I don't know.
as long as there isn't an Aristotle.
Yeah, there might be an Aristotle here. You never know.
Yeah.
Then you'll hear A. Please report to Professor Mercutio in section Z. And they'll tell you the lane of section Z as well. Sorry. Then we'll go. Gareth Alfredi, please report to Professor Mercutio in section Z. And Katerina, and what was your last name again?
Zafarian.
Katerina Zafarian, report to Professor Mercutio in sector Z. And they'll continue going, and it'll list, just hundreds of people. But you will all hear your names, and you will go to your area, and they'll name off other people as well. So there's about a good dozen people in your cohort, including you guys. So you'll also hear the name Carrick to report to Professor Mercutio in Sector Z, and various other names. So as you make your way over to this zone, you will see this sort of older gentleman sort of dressed in what looked like master's robes, but in very Asian style. Sort of the more kimono style sleeves as opposed to the pointed master's sleeves, but it's very well dressed. Very, he wears the sort of bifocal glasses down on his nose. Sort of has the salt and pepper hair. Sort of clean shaven. Well, he's got a bit of a mustache, but for the most part, he's clean shaven. And there's someone there with him with a sign that has his name on it. And you come over and go, welcome, all of you, to Fossa City. I am Professor Alfred Mercutio. I shall be your mentor while you are here. If you will follow me, please. And he turns and he begins to walk. And he takes you all into a room where it's just you guys. It's the 12 of you and him. And he turns to everyone and says, welcome again. While you are here, you will live together. You will work together. You will enjoy socialization together. Never will you ever be apart while you are here. You are responsible for one another. And I am here as your mentor to get you through your training. You will notice that you came here with nothing except the clothes on your backs. To my left, you will find your uniforms. If you will please change into these uniforms before we continue further. And there are like dressing rooms, and there are uniforms on a rack, and they have your names on them. So he shows each of you into a room and has you turn. And it's very much like just a pair of pants, a long sleeve button down shirt type of very loose, very Asian style, with the soft shoes. And everything is designed to fit your species. So there is no alterations that have to be done. Literally, it's like putting on your own clothing. So once you guys have your uniforms on, you'll come back into the room, and he'll say, now I will take you to your dormitory, which is just yours. It'll be just you. You will be fed there. You will have bedding there. Everything you need will be included. You do not need money while you're in the city. All of that will be taken care for you. Each of you will have, and he'll hand you all these bracelets. Everyone will wear these bracelets. And they have your, basically like your dormitory number on them, which is 42. And he'll say, this is how you purchase things in the city. You basically show them the bracelet, they write it down, and it is all charged to the academy. He'll say, you will not need weapons, you will not need money, you will need nothing except what you are given today. Once you have completed your training, you will then be given a starter pack, which will include your weapons, your armor, and other sundry items necessary for you to complete your final exams. Now, are there any questions? And he waits for anyone to raise their hands. And if no one raises their hands, some people will raise their hands and ask some random questions, and he'll answer them the best of his ability. So do any of you have questions for him?
Yeah, A's going to raise his hand because he wasn't really told exactly what this thing was going to say. So what are we doing here?
You will be training until further notice at the Academy of Magic. All candidates chosen must learn the basic magic. If you choose to learn higher end magics or magics from other schools, then you will do that upon your own. But your basic education here is this. And they're going to hand you like a folder. And it's going to have all of that information in it. What you'll be doing, when you'll be doing it. It's like a itinerary. And he'll reiterate, if you socialize, you must all go together. You will never be caught separated, because if you are, then you will lose points. And the punishments can be rather severe. I say that with quotes around it, what they would consider severe. Most of you probably wouldn't consider severe, but it can slow down your training and it can set you back, basically.
Right.
So, but he says, I will be living with you all the time. I will be with you 24/7.
So don't be class clowns.
I'm here. Oh, he doesn't care about any of that. As long as you do what you're told to do and your work is done, he doesn't really care. He wants you to be yourselves, and he'll tell you that. This is not for you to come here and not be who you are. Enjoy yourselves while you're here, but we're going to be learning some stuff. You're going to be learning a lot of stuff. You're going to be being trained to do some things. You will be trained in some combat. You will be trained in some magic. You will be trained in a lot of things. And there will be times where you will be bruised and battered. And, it's like serious stuff.
I'll say, probably after hearing the professor go, just be you, I'm going to mumble under my breath going like, oh, you're going to regret that choice. Or that choice of words.
He'll say, we'll see about that, Master O. Or A. We'll see about that.
And then A kind of looks like going like, wait, what? Because he thought he said it quiet. Like he was trying to say it quietly. So the fact the professor is doing the whole I hear all is kind of made like, oh shit type moment.
And and we'll get more into it later, but you'll find out why he can hear you so well.
Okay.
So he'll say, is there any more questions? If there are no more questions, then we will proceed to the dormitory. Okay. At which point he'll say, if you will follow me, please. And he walks through another door on the other side of the room. On the other side of that door is what looks like stairs that go down. You begin to descend down these stairs down into a tunnel, which is in essence is like a subway station. You'll hear the screeching of the sort of train coming. It pulls into the station. Someone gets out, opens the doors. He'll say, if you'll step inside, please. And he'll usher everyone inside. Once everyone's in, they'll close the door. He will hit a button on the thing, which basically tells the driver where you're going. And it shoots out of the tunnel or down the tunnel. And he'll turn to you and say, if you use the public transport, Here you'll see, and he'll show you the panel that he shows, and it literally has like destinations like already in it. And he's like, these are the central like depots. From these depots, you can access the city just by going to these depots. So all you have to do is press the button you want, and the train will take you where you need to go, or this little car will take you where you need to go. So you're speeding, and then it comes out of the tunnel and into the air, up onto the elevated. So now you all can see the city as you're going through it. And you can see the glistening of the buildings, and you can see the mechanized vehicles sort of flying underneath and over. If you look down, you can see the streets are just people everywhere. And as the car keeps going, eventually it veers off from the center of the city, and it's heading down towards this sort of large building it looks very institutional. Like when I say institutional, I mean like an academy, a college or school. And then it just sort of like comes and it goes down into a sort of depot there, above ground depot. Professor Mercutio hits the button, the guy comes and unlocks the door, and it opens. He goes, if you will all disembark, please, and stay to your right and up the stairs. So as you come out and go right and up the stairs, those stairs lead you to a great hall. And he'll, as you all come, he will say, sorry, excuse me, I gotta find my where'd my file go? Oh, there it is. Okay. He'll say, welcome to La Académie de Arcana, or the Academy of Magic. And it's this, when you go into this hall, it is this grand, think like Grand Central Station in New York. This sort of like the old Grand Central, this beautiful, like sort of ornate hall with people coming and going, sort of very, very busy. And he'll say, if you'll follow me, he takes you up a flight of stairs and into what will essentially now be your home for the duration you're here. And he'll take a key out and he'll unlock. The door opens, and inside, you go inside a sort of great room, massive fireplace and seating. And then there are stairs on either side of the fireplace that go up to the actual dormitory itself, where you'll sleep and bathe and all of that. And he'll say, if you will all make your way to the great room, and at this point, and he sort of pulls out this sort of thing out of his pocket, flips it open, and he says, you have about an hour before it's time to eat, so I suggest that you find your bunks and maybe perhaps get to know one another. I will come and collect you in an hour. Click, he closes it, and he exits. So you're all standing in this great room. What do you do? Who makes the first move?
It's just the 5 of us, right? Well, 4 because
no, there's about 12 of you total.
We've already changed into our uniforms, correct?
Yes, you guys are already in your uniforms.
Yeah. Oh, actually, out of curiosity, because what for Jins, so how are there just going to be like slits on my back where my wings will pop out for whenever they do come out?
Your uniform.
I know you said they're tailored. I just didn't know if they're like slits all the time.
Yeah, think of it like there's a flap on the back that covers it, so it's open, so your wings can literally just slide out and slide back in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you like whenever I don't choose wings and mutation, how would that look? Type deal. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there was, I think, 23 this time?
Yeah. 23 this time.
Well, 23 from Stormhawk. We don't know if Jins were anywhere else around.
Fair. So, okay. So So what do you guys do?
I mean, Elena is currently just looking down and studying her uniform. Like, literally, like, what type of fabric is this? Oh my god, I love this weave. This is...
And this would actually be like a basic, almost like a cotton hemp sort of, but it's cotton and hemp, but it's super soft, which is unusual for hemp. But for some reason, it's like you can look at it and like really look at the weave, and you're like, I can only imagine she's like,
oh yeah, she has
just
stars in her eyes right
yeah,
now.
just can't figure it out. But it is, you can see that it is sort of a cotton hemp blend.
Is it baby's butt smooth?
And yeah, I mean, but however they've processed this in a way that it's smooth, like almost like silk, but not quite as silky. But it's very smooth, and it feels nice to the touch, and it doesn't chafe. It doesn't, it flows nicely. It's very airy.
I mean, she's actually kind of like mumbling to herself, but not mumbling, like a louder mumbling. I can't tell if this is like a flannel or is this a satin weave? What is this? My goodness.
Right. Okay.
So I'm looking at my bracelet where it has 42, and I'm looking around for 42.
42 was above the door to your dormitory. When you walked up, it was a 42 etched in stone.
Are we in the dormitory or just
you are in the dormitory? This is your. There's
hall.
A great.
Okay.
Well, there's a great hall inside your dormitory. It's the great room.
Yeah, we're not in the dorm room. We're in the dorm, like the building of the
dormitory. Your dorm rooms are upstairs.
Okay.
So this is your building basically for the duration you're
here. Yeah, I'm just looking around. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to check out upstairs.
Okay.
He told us to sort our bedding out, so I'm following orders.
Yeah, fair.
So you go upstairs, and there's sort of a great hallway, and on either side there are doors that go into the various rooms, and your names are on the doors. So all you have to do is find your name, and you open the door, and there you are.
Okay.
And if you go into your room, each of your rooms, there is a single bed. It's just a standard bed. There's nothing fancy really about it, but it's a comfortable bed. You have a wardrobe, and you have a bathroom. So you have those. It's sort of an ensuite type thing, sort of a singular, economy size apartment, except it doesn't have a cook space. And there's a single window that looks out over the plaza. Okay. So you go into what do you do when you get up there?
I just wanted to see where it was so I could sort it out, as he said.
Okay. That's fine. All right.
And
so
then
you're up.
I'll just sort of sit on the edge side of the bed and wait. Got an hour.
I'll go up and...
Okay, so you're going to go up as well, Gareth?
Yep.
Okay, so up you go, and you'll find the room that has your name on it. Again.
And I jokingly say, dibs on sleeping in the hot tub.
Oh, if only there was one. So in your room, you'll find, again, the same things, but each of the rooms is actually basically caters to you and your species. So, if you need water, there's that idea of you're able to sleep in water if you want to, or you're able to, they've adapted everything to your particular needs. So whatever you walk into your room, it is set up so that you will be comfortable. And if you each look inside your wardrobe, you'll see that there's several uniforms in there for you. So you'll have changes of clothes.
Okay. Yeah, Probably say A at this point is probably just scanning the room, just seeing everyone who's going like, okay, what the hell is this place? Rather than going more kind of like Katarina style of, probably heads or doors being more prepared. They were expecting what happened so far type deal.
Right.
Kind of like pretty much like what you see like at basic training when everyone first shows up before the drill sergeant starts barking orders.
Starts yelling at them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're looking around this room, the great room is very much like a common area. There are shelves with books on them. There's, like I said, a large fireplace. There's tables and chairs. There's games.
Yeah.
There's, it's just some place you guys can hang and chill, read books if you want to. Tables that you can do work at.
That's it.
That's what.
Just because he was kind of kept in holding for a bit until the boat came to take him. Is there anything that he's able to tinker with technology wise?
Yeah, I mean there is there's like electric lights. Like you can flip a switch and there's a light will come on, but
yeah. Well, no, I mean like literally like tinker like.
You can tinker with just about anything. There are clocks in here. There are little bitty tech. There's not going to be any like technology.
Okay, see that's what he's looking for.
No, you're not going to find any of that in here. This is literally
kind of
just
expected, but you never know.
Yeah, that's fair. No, yeah, this is mechanical rules. Which is what they are. Yeah, but no, this is literally just it's like clocks and the light switches and things of that nature.
Okay. At that point, I think he's just gonna like literally just watch everyone. He probably, sees Alana just going like, just checking out, their uniform.
And I think at even one point she will openly say, "Do you know what type of cotton this is? I know there's hemp in here, but I've never seen it so soft."
Is Alana saying that out loud or toward anyone?
She's saying it out loud.
Okay. Yeah, A's just looking, going like, okay, and does like a sidestep, going like, so there's one crazy.
She's smoking her clothing.
That is mean, sir. That is mean.
Bullying already.
I love it. Okay, so
at that point, I think A will probably just go up to his room as well and just sees everything you've already described for the others.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Alana, what are you doing? You're not the last one there. There are other people down there just sort of like chilling. Some people are like looking at the books on the shelves, and a couple of people have taken like the cards and are playing some sort of card game.
Well, she's going to look around and she sees that no one is really as interested in what she's doing or what she wants to talk about. So she's just going to head up to her room.
Okay.
And she's probably going to be stunned by the light switch.
That's fair. When you go into your room, you'll find your name on the door. You go in. In your room, it's set up for you specifically as a species, as everything. But your room is also set up with lots of fabrics on the walls, curtains. Like, it's literally set to you. So when you go in, you almost feel kind of at home.
Oh, you have set up a situation where she may never leave.
We have an hour. So everyone sort of like finds their place. Some people are playing games. Some people go to their rooms, they chill, they hang out. So do you guys just hang out in your rooms? Is that what you do? Does anybody get to try to know anybody?
I mean, I opened the conversation. No one wanted to talk.
It's like, who's that person talking to us?
I'm pretty sure A's probably like, still trying to get the staining off his hands too.
That's fair. If you
try to shake hands with somebody, they're like, ew.
What is that? Ick. No, thank you. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't want people thinking that something else is going on.
That's very fair. Very, very fair.
Well, I've never seen a gin. This may Their hands
Well, the
look
other thing,
weird.
the other thing too is
True.
the other thing too is after the sinking, pretty sure no one's going to just walk up to me anyway. Not immediately.
That's fair too.
All right, I'll go back down to the common room and kind of just look around.
Yeah, I mean, when
Yeah,
you get
true,
down
your
there, you see
character has
like,
that troublemaker,
Like you see people, some people sitting at the tables playing cards. You see the books
label
on the
tattooed on
shelves,
his forehead.
You know,
Sarah.
you see all kinds of He's been nuzzling me. So yeah, I mean, you see people kind of playing and having a good time, and you see people sort of getting to know each other already. Yeah, people are starting to make friends. At least they're chit chatting with each other at least. As you come down, and there's a girl at the table playing cards with another girl. She's a sort of blonde looking woman, and she says, "Hey, do you want to play cards with us?"
And it's one of those, me? You know?
Yeah. She points to you and she says, "Yeah, you."
Oh, I don't know the rules.
Okay. She's like, "All right." She's like, "Here, sit down."
Okay.
She says,
She'll sit down.
okay. And she'll go, "Okay, so what we're playing is we're playing a game. It's from my hometown. I played it when I was a kid. It's called Realm Quest. Okay, so what we do, the objective of this game is to embark on a thrilling journey through the mystical realms, overcoming challenges and collecting powerful artifacts to become the ultimate hero. Okay, it's a fantasy themed card game, and you're gonna love it. Okay, and she starts to break down each of the cards. She's like, you have your hero cards, which represent different character classes, just like wizard, warrior, rogue, with unique abilities. Then you have realm cards. Okay, that's divided into regions, each with its own challenges, monsters, rewards, that sort of thing. Then you have artifact cards that are powerful items that enhance your hero's abilities. Those are really important. And then you have encounter cards. And these are like challenges and monsters that your hero must face. Okay. And then you have quest cards. These are special missions that provide extra rewards. And now you do have gold cards, and that's your currency. Okay. You use those to buy things. You can buy items, artifacts, all kinds of things. And then you have the dice. The dice are for resolving battles and determining outcomes, basic dice type stuff. Okay. So here's how we do it. So each player chooses a hero card and places it in front of them. Okay. So she spreads the hero cards out in front of you. She's like, pick one, and you face up, put it in front of you.
Okay. And I'll just randomly pick one.
Okay, no, I'll pick. And then they'll shuffle. She's going to shuffle the realm cards, the artifact cards. She's going to put them face down. Then she'll shuffle the encounter cards and quest cards separately, placing them face down in a different area, sort of setting them up in different ways. And then each player, you'll start with a set amount of gold cards. And she'll each person's gold cards. Okay. Then she's like, okay, so what we do is we take turns drawing a realm card, and we reveal challenges, monsters, and rewards in that region. Okay. And then we choose to face the challenges or battle monsters by rolling the dice. So, she pulls the hero card. She goes, see, hero abilities and acquired artifacts may modify those outcomes. So make sure you check your hero cards. Okay. Now, successfully facing challenges and defeating monster rewards each of us with gold cards. So we get gold cards or artifact cards and progress towards completing the quests. So players can either spend gold cards to purchase artifact cards from the deck if you'd like. So if you have enough gold cards, you can purchase these artifact cards. See, the game continues until all players have completed a set number of quests or until the realm deck is depleted. Okay, so and then the player with the most victory points that they earn through completing quests and acquiring artifacts wins the game. It's that simple.
Simple. Okay.
Okay, and so she'll give you everything you put the card, and y'all begin to play. And she'll walk you through the game. so that you so that you're not like lost. So you're not like
Right.
So she's like, no, okay. So here she's like, basically she's like, here, I'll play with you one or two rounds, and then you can try it on your own. Okay. So she kind of scooches her chair closer to you, and she's like, okay, so we'll play this one this hero that you pulled. And so they start playing, and then the other girl's playing opposite, and you're doing all these things, and you're like winning things, and you're gathering. And she's like, okay, here you get gold cards, and just by doing that you get this, and you're like genuinely having fun.
Can I just stop you right there and talk about how this guy literally just made up a game within a game all by himself with like its own plot?
I know.
Just like it sounds like right off the cuff.
I have seen him do stuff like this so many times.
I should write that. I should have written it down. Damn it.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, this will
Go
go
back
be a
and watch
oh, that's true. I can watch
Take
the
notes.
VOD. I
I
can just watch the
hope
VOD.
you
Right in my
recorded
pants.
this episode so you can go back and review.
That's true. So
Yeah, I would say you can just watch the VOD, but I can also make a quick clip for like the past. I would say like what, 3 minutes.
So yeah, so you play this game, and then other people kind of come over and go, "Hey, this looks cool," and other people start to join until you get about 6 players, you and 5 other people, and you're just playing cards.
And enjoying myself.
At least we hope.
At some point, Goth will come over and just observe.
Oh, it's analytical. She'd like that, you know. She understands. You do this, you get this. You do this, you get this.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and then so Gareth, you come over and you're sort of watching.
Yep.
I just saw it. That's funny. Playing Magic the Gathering.
'Cause
You need the Surge
It's
game.
something from a different color.
Nah, I won't let me
So
clip that much. So yeah, just use the VOD.
He's intrigued.
Alana's gonna come down after her adventures with the light switch,
Yeah.
and and she is going to look around and notice like the bookcase with all the books in it. She's like, "Oh, I wonder what," and she's gonna check out the books, see if there's anything, maybe
Fabric
about the
related.
fabric that- yes. Or dies, or anything about history, because she also likes that stuff. Because she's also wondering, how the hell does all this crap work?
Nice.
She's an
Okay.
inquisitive mind, and for the past however many years, it's been fabric.
You see a big.
Okay, so Greg, here's a question for you. What would you use? What kind of skill would you use to, like, if you're like going to observe or investigate or look through or sort of leaf through things to see if you see anything that you recognize or find of interest?
That would be an intelligence challenge
Okay,
against.
I figured that's
a
what it was,
DR.
but I didn't know if it was something.
You're spot on.
Okay, cool. So do an intelligence roll for me, there, Alana.
All right. I don't expect much from it, but okay.
I don't expect
right, I
much.
forgot.
You never know. You might end up like A did with that amazing roll that he had.
I don't
Fair.
know if you missed that, Will, but if he had failed that, there was a potential for him to take up to 50 falling damage.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you would have been hustling.
I mean, that's the MVP roll of the night.
No,
The next
I probably would've
episode,
been
he
dead.
would be introducing his new character, which
New
looks
character.
suspiciously like Abe, except his name would be Fuego.
I love it. It'll be B.
Yeah.
I
Just
said that, and he says no.
His name. Hi, I'm B.
Well, I'm saying the only reason the name was A is because
There's
that's the Irish name for
1-4.
fire.
Oh, I know. I just thought it was funny.
That's another 4.
How many is that now?
I got 11.
You had
Oh,
outdo me.
Vulcan.
12
Come
with the
on.
intelligence score.
That's awesome.
Dang.
Wow. Okay. So as you're looking at the
I like
books on
these
the
dice now.
shelf, as you're looking at the good Lord. Okay. I need you and Kel to roll me a D4, please.
That was a 3 for me.
Okay. Write that number down somewhere and don't forget it.
I gotta find a
That's
notepad.
a 3 for me too.
Okay, cool. Write that number down somewhere and don't forget it.
Copycat.
And just remind Kel what his number was. When
First
he
you're mad that I
forgets.
beat you at it, then you're mad at me for being a copycat. You can't pick both.
Well, see, no, you know, what'd be really interesting if a third person rolled a 3, because then we would really have the power of 3.
Fair. That's funny.
The rule of threes.
All right, cool. So as you're like viewing the bookshelves, and you're finding all sorts of things. There are books of history there. There's like books on engineering. There are books on just about any subject and every subject there is. But as you're looking, and you're sort of like, oh wow, this is amazing. Look at all this knowledge. You're gonna be like, you know, your finger along the thing, and you're gonna go pad, and you're gonna stop for a second. And you're gonna go, wait a minute. I'm going to go back 4 books, and there's a thick-spined book that says The History of Fossian Textiles.
Yoink.
Okay, so, and it's a pretty heavy book. It's a big, big book. And when you open it, which I'm assuming she does,
Absolutely.
first of all, you will admire the book itself, because the book itself is actually bound in Fossian linen. So it's actually the hardboard with a linen sort of covering. And it is sort of in this sort of beautiful, like cherry blossom pattern. And then the spine of the book is more hemp. And it's sort of dark, sort of almost a reddish color with these sort of black writing on it. But the book itself is basically bound in a linen. And when you open the book, inside of the book are images, not really images, but actual like swatches, like pages of swatched material.
Oh my God.
And each of the materials on the page opposite of it, it gives a history of that fabric, like who came up with the design, who created this particular weave, where it was weaved, where the cotton came from, or whatever material it is, where it came. It gives a complete history of it. When it was first used, the year it was first used, what it was first used in or on, et cetera, et cetera. And it just goes, this whole book is just that. And if you admire the spine, it says volume 1.
Quick, go to the index and look for your last name. You know?
I mean, she probably would, except her family shtick is more dyes than the actual fabric.
Yeah. So if you go to the index, you will find Hempstead listed. And it's like one of the largest entries in the book.
Cool.
And you
Fair
will,
enough.
as you kind of skim through the listings, you will see family names that you recognize. And under dyes and things, you will see your family's name. So there's a lot of, this is a huge history. This is only the first volume. So there's just volume 1 there. I wonder how many more volumes there could be.
Oh yeah, she's definitely going to be asking that question, and she's going to be writing a note to look for History of Fossian Fabrics, Volume All.
Okay, cool.
The Academy is going to very much regret giving her the bracelet when she gets into a bookstore.
That's fair. Okay, cool. What about the rest of you? So, what are you doing? What are you up to?
I'm assuming at this point I've probably gotten that pigment off my hands from the Tannis root.
Yeah, you're going to be able to get that out because the soaps that they have in the dormitories will literally just take it out of your skin.
Okay, cool. Just
Not in
double
a bad
check.
way. I mean, it literally will just get rid of the
It's just like that really good soap.
counteracts.
It's like those really good soaps you can find like hospitals and stuff where they really help you clean
Right.
it off.
Correct.
Clean off anything that's on there and a couple layers of skin to go with it.
No, that's
Lava soap.
that's an idea. Anyway. Remember, even in my game, there's alien
story of the
planets that
guy
could be
with
a thing.
the pickaxe.
Was that the what?
Sorry, what was that saying when we missed that?
I noticed him earlier, but he had this weird pigment hands for some reason.
And he smelled bad too.
Hi, I'm Garth, by the way.
Okay. So Garth is introducing himself.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I'll probably somewhere because after watching the hand, I probably would also have taken a shower after being on the boat for so long.
That's fair.
Yep,
That is
after
fair.
asking a random question
Yeah, and then at that point,
about a random individual.
and then at that point, I would probably head back down and probably just find a spot just to kind of get overlooked, just to see everyone, try and like learn what I can.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, like, as I walk past groups, there's probably some people doing whatever.
As you kind of come down back into the room, there's no.
I mean,
There's
like,
no
blatant.
There's no animosity towards.
Yeah.
There's just some sort of. It's not necessarily like people aren't like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. No, it's more so like they're like the way I imagine it's kind of like the side eyeing.
Yeah,
almost.
it's more like, ooh, that's a djinn. Or maybe like, ooh, I've never actually met a djinn before. Or, it's that sort of thing as opposed to,
yeah, no,
careful, he's gonna kill all of us,
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that. Maybe one of the countries that was really affected by the sinking, maybe, but not here.
Maybe that's very possible, but luckily, none of the nations that were directly affected are actually here. So,
I'm just like when I say interact, I mean like this again, like side eye, maybe some hushed whispers, but again, nothing where it's like, they're trying to be mean or as you said,
no
there's no Sarah Connor screaming, "He's going to kill us all."
Yeah,
yes.
But I'd probably say though, because like I said, probably still find a spot just towards like the outer wall. Well, not outer walls, like the furthest walls, just kind of like eye the group.
Okay.
Because A's not really a social person to begin with. Like he's cocky, but he ain't social.
Okay. So you're gonna stand off to the side.
Description of what got.
Say that one more time. You were cutting out on us.
As it goes.
Nope.
It might be this browser I'm trying to use.
Yeah, we're getting about every other word. You can always drop it in the chat, and then we can say it out loud for you until we can get your audio handled.
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting like.
Or you could put it in the comments.
That's true as well.
That gets showed off. That gets shows off to other people.
That's true.
If it's under comments, because that's going to tie into.
It'll try all of our streaming platforms.
Yeah, it's only the other one that only we see.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So while he does that, so you're just sort of off to the side.
Yeah, off to the side, and probably if there's a bookcase or two, like as he walks to the, find a perch to sit on, or not perch, but like something to sit on against the wall, like a windowsill. Probably would just grab a random book.
Just a random book.
Yeah, just seeing what he grabbed.
Okay.
Imagine if it's History of Falsian Fabrics Volume 2.
I mean, it could be. Who knows? Maybe that's what the
Do an
3R roll was
intelligence roll for me. Let's see what you picked up.
Okay, let me pull my character sheet back up. I accidentally closed it. There we go. He said intelligence. That's a 5.
Okay. So you pick up. Let me see what book you pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey,
It's like,
I mean, the fact
that was another surge roll.
yeah, I'm about to say the fact that I
Yeah.
searched again.
So
This definitely satisfies those who like to roll dice.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I want you to. Can you roll another D4 for me, please?
Yeah, definitely. That is a 4.
Okay, cool. So you picked up the complete history of the Tannic route.
I almost knocked my chair down on that one.
I was really hoping you would roll a 4. I was like, please roll a 4. Please roll a 4.
So
No,
I'm gonna so once I make it to the windowsill, I want to actually open the book because I'm assuming because does it have the title on the front or is the title only on the spine?
It's on the spine.
Yeah, so I'm not even. Yeah, I wouldn't even look at the spine. I would just open it to the front page where I would have seen the title inside as well.
Yeah, and it says
And at that point, you're just gonna.
It's a concise history of the Tannic route and all of its uses.
As soon as I open that, I'm just gonna go. Like my head just sinks. I'm just gonna close the book and just set it down. And
then
keep my head low.
then you look at your hands and you see that your hands are stained again.
Oh, at that point,
because the book is bound in Tannic leather.
Oh my
Tannic root
god!
leather. So
at that point, I'm not even trying
Alana's going to look over at what book he put down, and she's just gonna say, "Oh wow, Tanroot! That's how we get the green dye." Oh wow! You have a little bit of dye on there. Try vinegar; it gets the green out, and then you can use baking soda to get the purple.
Well, I was say before Alana even walked up and said that bit, like, because A's not even going to hide this, which will probably add more to the fact of you walking over and seeing the book. He's going to like the whole "come on" moment.
I love that. That was complete and utter like kismet right there.
Oh yeah,
It's just like,
but
yes.
And Alana is
no.
also going to reach into one of her pockets, and she is going to hand him a pair of black gloves. Here, if you plan on handling the book again, you should use these. It doesn't stain your hands, and you can't even see the purple or green stains.
I swear to God, if you had pulled out a mint, I would have been like ultimate mom. Like,
I mean, close enough for having the
Have a
gloves.
butterscotch, dear.
I know. You get some kind of random ass hard candy.
Oh no, we'll see. Well, what would be the funny part if Alana pulled out mint? It probably wouldn't even be like a peppermint. It'd be like a mint leaf.
No,
it
the
needs-
ultimate would be if she spit
I
on
wove
a
this into my
handkerchief and
last
scrubbed
shirt.
your hands.
No, it needs to be that. And I'm sure everybody knows it's that ribbon candy that grandmothers have. That
Oh,
it always holds the shape of whatever it's sitting in.
Yes.
So,
I was gonna say the strawberry candies.
those
two.
two.
That-
Yeah.
God,
I was
those are
waiting
so
for you
good.
to like pull out a handkerchief and spit on it and start scrubbing his hands. You know?
You know what? No, what she's actually going to do is go back into her pocket, pull out a small jar of baking soda and a small bottle of vinegar for him to wash his hands.
I love that.
So,
I love
so
My
kinda like
family
when you-
works with Tannic root. She knows what to carry with her.
Little
Fair.
did you know, you're creating the next compendium of items for search.
Yes, I love it.
But
Can you
I
guys
will
hear me
wait
now?
for the update.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we can hear
can. We sure can. Huzzah!
I was trying a
Awesome.
different browser and it was giving me issues. The Firefox is
I've
starting
gotten
to
very
cooperate
competitive
again.
in the game
Okay.
by now, by the way.
nice.
Oh, cool. Love it. Okay, so
You know?
Gareth, what are you doing? So you've come into this and you're kind of observing. What are you up to?
Well, at one point, I would have asked that question about if anybody knew who the guy was with that pigment all over his hands.
Oh, now he's got it
It
on his hands
was
again.
because he found that strange. And then he'll, at one point, when it comes to the game, you'll go, is it always this game always competitive, or is there like one where it's purely cooperative, where you're all working together to achieve a goal and to win?
The card game. You're talking about the card game.
Yes.
The goal is not necessarily. It's not like a competitive, like a really competitive game. It's more. I mean, it is, but it isn't. I mean, whoever has the most points at the end is the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's the objective of the game is to complete quests,
Right.
and the points are just like sort of you get points for completing quests, and then at the end when there are no more quest cards or hero or quest cards, yeah, whoever has the most points is the winner, quote unquote. But it can become competitive. I mean, you can make it competitive, but I think it's more at this point. I think it's just people just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, except for Katarina, she's getting competitive. But
Yes.
But that is just her nature.
yeah. Okay. So as we were all sort of socializing, Professor Mercutio will come back in, and he'll say he'll hit a button on the wall, and you'll hear this sort of gong go off, and he'll say it's time for dinner. He'll pull a crank, at which point there'll be a door. The fireplace will sling open, and there's a door behind it. He said, if you'll go into the next room, into the dining room, dinner will be ready for you. Will be prepared, and then once we finish dinner, then you will go to bed. So he brings everyone through. You go in. It's this long table. You can sit wherever you want, and there's like windows on one long side of the room. There's these chandeliers hanging over the table. Once you go in, the fireplace goes back, and there's a fireplace on that side as well.
Wow.
And then they just start bringing foods in, and again, they serve you basically. And yeah, so you guys eat. Again, it's various foods that you'd be used to, with some additions of Fossian delicacies, just so you can kind of get used to the food here. And yeah, so that's it. So you guys are sitting around the table. For the most part, it's probably just basic conversation. Again, that's funny. Yeah. So, you just basically sit around and just have a decent conversation, having decent conversations. Professor Mercutio is at the head of the table, and he's sort of eating. He's actually drinking soup, and just sitting there. So he's there, and you can ask him questions. You can at this point, this is when you can ask Professor Mercutio any specific questions about the academy, about what you will be doing, and that sort of thing. But that is where we're going to stop tonight. So next time when we come back, we'll pick up in the dining room, and you'll go through the dining room, get to know each other a little bit more. Then you'll go to bed, and then the next morning you'll have your first class. So that's what we'll end tonight. Thank you all for joining us in our premiere episode of Windriders of Aria and our introduction to Surge, the cool TTRPG platform that we have the honor of using. And it's super fun and having a good time. You can already tell everybody's having a blast with it as they're all surging like crazy. So yay, the premiere episode, and we had 2 surges. Like, wow. So, 3 surges. That's right. We had 3. So fantastic. So, all right, we're going to go around again, let everyone kind of say who they are, where you can find them, who they're playing, And the question for the character question is, what is one thing that you are excited about playing in this platform? Okay, we're gonna start with Crazy Gamer Lady.
Hey guys, I'm the Crazy Gamer Lady. You can find me on TikTok, and you can also find me on ADH Adventures every other Saturday. So not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that. I'm going to be at ADH Adventures with Unlicensed Magic, playing with Will, the Halfling Wizard. I'll be playing a very traumatized, war-torn lizard folk druid who hopefully doesn't have to play mom to a tormented cinnamon roll, but she knows she will. That poor cinnamon roll.
True. Very true. Okay. Let's go to Kel.
Hey guys, again, I'm Kel, also known as the Celtic Wyvern King. You can find me on Twitch and TikTok under the same. You can find me every Monday with Will here for either Windriders of Aria or Orlea Origins, depending on the Monday, as well as on every other Friday. You can find me on my Twitch channel for Stargate, which is a 5e TTRPG. And then alternate Fridays playing a Walking Dead campaign using the new system or the new book made by Free League Publishing. And then as for because what was the character question again? Because I heard part of it because my brain kind of shut off there for a moment. It's like 2:00 where I am.
Like, what's one thing you were excited about with the new platform?
Oh yeah, it's just being able to test it out, especially just seeing the creativity you have here. Because especially where I searched twice in that one role, and same with Crazy Gamer Lady is where we kind of got a little bit more where we were able to dictate what happened. That's what I love about some games that do that. Like for example, when I was in a Firefly campaign, if you had a certain number of successes, I think it was like 3 or more success or in a role, it's like, okay, cool, you take over the scene. So it's cool being like having that liberty and that freedom to do it and just be like, okay, cool, I'm going to do like, a 720 corkscrew with the loop-de-loop.
Yeah.
Have moments like that.
Yep. Which is exciting, which I'm very excited about. I'm excited. Yeah. And I'll get to me when I get to me.
Yeah. And we'll just see how much my karma takes a toll afterwards.
Fair enough. Those roles will come to an end, I guarantee you. All right. Old Worm Slayer.
Hi, I am Old Worm Slayer. You can find me on TikTok as Tiny Nunya. And you will find me here every other Monday on Windriders of Aria. And I think Kel's game should have one more player in it, but that's just me.
No, I was reading Kel's comment. I wasn't laughing at anything else.
And also, can't wait to see what happens to you in like Origins. That'll be fun too.
Well, I'll say because my game will be before Origin.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where it'll offset probably.
That's true. I need to make sure I can catch that. All right, Lisa.
Hey, I'm Lisa, D&D Winterwolf on TikTok and Discord. I play Katerina Zephyrian. I have to admit I was a little intimidated by the game. I mean, even though I did the one shot and I had so much fun, but it's just different. And I am older, but as usual, all my worries were for naught because this was amazing. It is very easy. I can see why your job is a lot harder, Will.
Yeah.
Just managing it all, but so much freedom to do different stuff. I love the characters that are already coming out, and I can honestly say I can't see us all melding together as a team yet, but it's going to be so fun to get there.
Indeed. All right. And of course, hi, I am Will, or Halfling Wizard, the Maestro of Chaos for this group of crazy folks and characters. I also want, before I get into my spiel, I'd like Greg to kind of say, hey, this is who I am. This is where you can find me. This is what I do. That's
awesome, okay. Greg.
Sure. First of all, thank you for all the beautiful words. That was very kind of you. Probably more kind than I deserve. And Goose is in the chat here with me. He's my partner in crime in this project. It's been a passion project for ours for a long time.
Thank you, Goose. I haven't met you, but what y'all put together is pretty amazing.
We'll change that. We'll change that at some point in the near future.
Good.
But yeah, you can find me personally. We have a Discord for our community. You can get to that from our website at warptree.com/game/surge. You can find me on Insta, on Twitter, on YouTube, and Twitch at Game Master Dad. Feel free to drop me a line anytime, ask questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. And you can find Pet the Goose on Twitch, on YouTube, Discord, all the same. He'll show up as Drew Goose in the Discord, so that you can find him easily and pop him a line too. But yeah, I can't say enough. Thank you so much for taking a chance on us and giving this a go. I'm having a blast watching you guys, and I will do whatever I can to support you guys throughout your adventure. Thank you so much.
I love that. So, make sure you guys, Greg, make sure you guys get me any links that you want, and I'll put it in our Nightbot so that it pops up during the games.
Will do.
So that way we can have all that in there.
Yeah.
Kellen, you too. Make sure you get me your Twitch, and I'll put it. I'll pop it up there as well.
Yeah. I'll just send you the link tree. That way, it has my TikTok and all the.
That works too. Yeah, if you got a link tree, I'll do that. That's cool.
Because that also has the link tree to my YouTube. Because I keep forgetting to talk about that. So that way, if you guys want to play catch up, you can go on my YouTube, same name, and find all the episodes.
Absolutely. Yes. If you should make sure you go and follow, because the Stargate game is fantastic. If you have not, if you have not been over there and have watched it, you really should, because it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, them with the some like request form for mud boots, especially Keshna.
I love it. I love it. All right. Of course, I am Will, or Halfling Wizard, your Maestro of Chaos. You can find me on the TikToks and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and all of that under Halfling Wizard. So I want to say thank you to, of course, Greg and Goose for creating such a fantastic TTRPG platform. It's super fun, and we're just scratching the surface of it, and I can't wait to really get into the meat of it. We're having a blast with it so far. It's so funny. Once we got into it, it all kind of just relaxed, and it's pretty fun. So again, make sure you come back and see us on every first and third Monday of the month here at the Halfling Wizard Twitch channel. Again, we also stream on YouTube and Facebook. So if you want to go and follow any of those, like any of those, please do. If you haven't followed the Twitch channel, please go ahead and give us a follow. We would appreciate it, because one of these days we'd love to get to affiliate and then do some really fun stuff. So come back next time and see how many times Tannic Root will come up, because it'll come up a lot, because it's all over the damn place. So hang around. Make sure you hang around, because we're going to raid somebody if you're in Twitch. But until then, make sure you roll them dice and stay groovy, my friends, because tomorrow's never guaranteed. All right, everyone, we love you all.
Next time we ride the Skies of Aria.
Yes, and we will see you all very soon. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us for this Vibe Tribe Halfling Wizard production. Make sure to come back again soon to see what happens next, right here where adventure comes to life.